This podcast is brought to you by JList.com. JList.com is stocking all new magazines all the way from Japan. Keep up to date with Japanese fashion, anime, games, and culture with an array of magazines that are coming out for the month of March 2019. They have Megami Magazine, Comic Alive, Dengeki Comic Dio, Hobby Japan, Model Graphics, and more. So head over to JList.com. They have dozens of Japanese magazines that you can check out and keep up to date with everything that's going on overseas. And now, it's time to start the podcast.
来てくれてありがとう You're listening to the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. Take your anime addiction to the next level at AAAPodcast.com/join. And now, here are your anime addicts.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the 458th episode of the Anime Addicts Anonymous Podcast. My name is Kazuo, and I am joined here by my good friend Mitsugi. Mitsugi, what's up?
What up, people? I am so happy to be here. It's Super Bowl Sunday, and I wish all the best and good luck to my boys in blue.
You know what? That's all the best to them as well, I suppose.
Thank you.
I have no strong feelings one way or the other. I do have strong feelings about one thing, though, Mitz.
What is that?
And that is our mission. Do you know what that mission is?
It might be.
To make your anime addiction worse.
Oh my god!
I thought you were going to say it, but I guess you were waiting for me to join you.
I was.
That's totally cool. Of course, you can find us on our website, on the internet, AAAPodcast.com. Go to AAAPodcast.com/join to create an account and sign up for all the additional podcast goodness that we provide.
We just did a Hobby Addicts.
We sure did. We talked about Resident Evil 2.
The remake.
And also talked a little bit about healthy living. We talked about diet and nutrition and stuff. And Mitz and I are both on the road to Shred City.
Shred City 2019, baby.
Shred City, population, Mitz and me. So we talked a bit about how to figure out, what you're supposed to eat and all that stuff, and try to make it really simple for you guys. So if you want to join us, 2019, year of the abs.
Hashtag Shred City.
Year of the abu.
Abu.
Then you can listen to that episode and figure out how to do so. We
right.
also have hentai episodes and after parties, just hundreds of hours of podcast goodness for you.
To titillate you.
Yes. To pleasure your ear holes.
That's right.
For just a couple bucks.
And of course, the podcast will continue to function the way we like to do it. So bringing you, we do our very best here, and we only want the best for you.
That is true.
100%.
You can also find us on Facebook. We have a Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/AAA podcast. And as well, there is a Discord server with hundreds, damn near 1,000 people.
It's close to 1,000 now.
Yeah, it's got to be very close to 1,000 at this point. You can join them all. There's a link.
You want me to check how many?
Yeah, have at it. There's a link on the website, AAAPodcast.com. Along the top, you will see a link to the Join Discord. Do so. Hang out with all the listeners and the hosts as we do watch parties and play video games together and talk about all kinds of...
950.
So close. Mm-hmm. You can also follow Mitz and I on the Twitters.
Yeah, you can watch me say smart-ass things for the most part.
Yes.
And also be very excited about the Super Bowl at Pope Mitsugi. That's POPEMITSUGI. That's
nice.
right.
And I am at AAA Kazuo, which is AAA KAZUO.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. I am a hair's breadth away from 750 Twitter followers.
He's moving up, people.
I don't understand.
Make it happen for him.
I don't understand why anybody would want to follow me on Twitter.
That's kind of how I
feel. But 750 people have decided to.
Like, I understand why people follow the podcast in general, but like me personally, I don't understand why.
I follow you, Mitz.
You're so nice.
On today's episode, This is I like that it's just the two of us today. I feel like it's a throwback episode. And as a throwback episode, we're going to be discussing Dragon Ball Z. That's right.
That's right, baby.
Mitz and I are going to be going over some of the more popular Dragon Ball Z fan theories.
And there are some ridiculous ones.
Oh, there are.
There's
I have
some
a fan theory.
ridiculous shit.
I have a fan theory that I shared with you once before. We may talk about that as well.
And your I didn't find your fan theory anywhere.
Oh, wow.
Is that your personal theory?
I guess so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we'll be dismantling some of the Dragon Ball Z more popular fan theories or conspiracy theories. We will also be doing some impressions. So it's just Mitz and I. So we are going to be going over the bulk of what we have left for our impressions. Mitz is going to be doing Boogiepop and Others.
That's right.
And The Price of Smiles.
Correct.
And I will be doing impressions on Rising of the Shield Hero, Mysteria Friends, and the Quintessential Quintuplets.
Got a whole bunch of things for you.
Oh, yeah. And I feel a certain way about some of these shows.
I also want to say real quick.
Yes.
You guys remember Cram, right?
Of course.
Hey, girl.
Yeah, that
You're
Cram.
looking so fine.
For those of you that don't remember Cram, he was the 7th host of the AAA podcast.
Wow, lucky number 7.
We picked him up when we were in Japan.
You found him in a back alley.
Yeah, well, he was a great addition. People loved Cram for many reasons, including his voice, because people just, I don't know, they just can't get enough of it.
There's all kinds of lovers out there.
Yeah.
Moe lovers, tsundere lovers, bishi lovers.
Wait for it.
But you know what all these lovers love the most?
What's that, Cram?
It's anime.
Yeah. I'm just picturing like you and Chiaki back in the day in Japan, like on a street corner with like a lemonade stand, except instead of lemonade, it's just like need anime podcast host, apply here.
And that's how we found Cram.
And that's how you found Cram.
Cram's wife has written a book.
Oh.
And it is being described as a Studio Ghibli-esque historical fiction.
Oh, this sounds cool. All right.
It's called The Story That Cannot Be Told, and it's coming out on Amazon really soon. The author name is J. Casper Kramer. So everybody should go check out giving Cram's wife and Cram himself a little love here as a very loved past podcast host. So the book, The Story That Cannot Be Told by J. Casper Kramer.
But it's gonna be told.
It is.
This is crazy.
A Ghibli-esque historical fiction. So I just wanted to throw that out there. If those of you that are interested, you can go look that up on Amazon right now and shed some love for an old friendly voice on the podcast.
Well, you know, Mitz, in 2019, I've made one of my goals to read a book every month.
Dude.
So
Do it, man.
I might add this to my list of books.
Well, yeah, go for it. I'm sure that they would love that.
All right, I'm excited. I'm gonna
All
check
right.
it out.
And on that note, shall we start?
Let's do it.
おー、大ニュースです。It's time for big news of the week.
There was a news article today,
Okay.
this past week, that I was so excited about
Oh boy,
because it feeds right into my rhetoric.
your rhetoric.
Oh, yes.
Oh, God.
It's beautiful.
Your anti-moe rhetoric.
No, not anti-moe.
Okay.
Berserk 2016's anime director says the industry has a shortage of animation directors.
Oh, that rhetoric.
Yeah. So director Shin Itagaki wrote about the problem of the shortage of animation directors. He said it's a bigger problem than even a lack of key animators in the current era, and this is key, ready?
Yeah.
Where too much anime is being made,
Yes.
is what he says.
Right.
There is no time to train animators properly.
Wow. That's so crazy, Mitz. It's
It's almost like I said this
Yeah.
last week. So the animation director's job is to basically review animation and make sure that it's done very consistently.
Right.
They review it, they find mistakes, and they'll like erase things, clean stuff up, give feedback. So they're basically like, the way that I view it is they're almost like quality control to make sure that the animation's being done up to a high standard.
Sure.
So, but the animation directors are having to shoulder a huge burden of production because the actual animators themselves aren't being trained properly because there's no time to do it because the industry is way too overworked. So he says, quote, "These days it is normal for a unit/episode director or an enshutsu and the animation director to redraw up to 90% of the key animation that is submitted.
Holy jeez.
Because it's such a disaster that they are redoing almost all of it
It's ridiculous.
When smaller animation companies lose the, quote, war for animation directors, it causes a, quote, animation breakdown. In other words, the production company has no choice but to leave the bad animation as it is.
I mean,
I couldn't resist.
yeah, no, I mean, and yeah, and I've agreed with you for sure in the past on this, and it's like, what do you do though? I mean, what's the fix? I mean, other than obviously, like we could just say, oh, we'll just make less anime, but it's not as simple as just doing that. Like there are so many people involved and so many people's paychecks that are dependent upon the current unsustainable size of the anime industry. Like, how do you effectively make that change without just destroying everything?
I mean, it's a very complicated question, and I would like to talk about this for hours, honestly, because it's very like economic, business type conversations that I love, right? And to me, I would like to see a contraction of the number of shows.
Yes, agreed.
And rather than laying people off or whatever, just apply more labor to each show.
See, yeah, I agree with that, but then you would have to make more money with each show in order to pay for that labor.
Well, I think that the idea is that when the shows are better, they will generate more revenue through more interest. So think about how many shows come out, and I don't have the number. I have no data for this.
Right.
But there must be a large number of shows that come out that like no one watches because they look like shit.
There's at least 20 every season.
Exactly. So like,
Actually, fine. Yeah, at least, because we do 20.
I mean, we watch a lot of bad stuff.
No, we
right?
watch. Hold on now, because we have.
Wait a tick.
How many impressions do we do?
20.
Okay, yeah, 20. All right, you're right.
So
there's at least that.
we watch a lot of like subpar stuff.
Right.
And my thought is that there's a lot of. I'd love to see the numbers on this, but I would be willing to bet that as is the case in a lot of different industries, probably the top 4 or 5 shows every season suck up the vast majority of the revenue every season.
Oh, 100%.
And there are probably 10, 15 shows that make almost no money at all. That, like, you're basically applying labor to these shows that are meaningless. Like, they have no one watching them. They make no money. And so you're basically reducing the quality of other shows because for the sake of putting out stuff that no one will watch. Like, you're going to find some stuff on here that's going to have, like, literally no one watching.
Yeah, like, if I scroll through this season's anime, like, and if you scroll past those first, like, 10 shows.
The kiddie shows?
It's, like, nobody. Yeah, like, the based on viewership on my anime list, there are shows that have literally 75 viewers that have even, like, added them to any
now,
list.
skip through all the kids stuff because a lot of that is for kids and no one's watching that.
Right.
So
yeah, there's a lot of little kid stuff in here, but then there's other things like this is certainly not for little kids, I would imagine, because it's got like a bunch of
Ame-iro Koko, like episode 3, season 3 or
the
whatever.
5th season
has no one, 3,000 people watching it. So take the 50 people that are working on that, or however many people it is, get rid of that show and put them on another project,
right,
that will enhance that one. Because it's like, my thought is that if 40% of the shows are generating 5% of the revenue, because some of them are probably losing money,
right,
then we can get rid of those, put those people on other projects, and enhance the quality of the shows that remain. And
yeah,
people won't be as overworked because they're not rather than a person having to draw like 1,000 images a day, now they're only doing like 400.
right.
Quality rises. Everybody's less overworked, and everybody gets. So like, I don't know that that's going to really reduce the revenue.
See, but the problem is that these people that own the companies won't want to do that. They want to maximize their profit, and generally they're only thinking in the short term. So if you eliminate some of these other products, then they'll be like, oh, well, then we can just not have all those people employed by us, and we can just still maintain this small team. And, they're not going to want to bring on additional hands because it's going to cost them money.
If it is found that it is not possible to employ everybody in the anime industry, but while doing this, then it is possible to contract the anime industry.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that
there have been contractions, and there's been bubbles in the early 90s or early to mid 90s in the anime industry and in Japan that have, there's been in the States, there have been companies that have gone out of business entirely in like the early 2000s and stuff. So like there have been times where there have been market corrections, like involuntary market corrections.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe we're not too far off from that happening again.
Anime could be like, sort of in what you would call like a bubble, sort of.
Yeah.
Now, a bubble is basically where like someone's always willing to pay a higher price without any kind of underlying value attached to it. So that's kind of not the right word to use. But like there must be other ways to generate revenue. Like they could, if you're going to take on more employees and you don't want to lay them off, find ways to make more revenue. Maybe you make deals with foreign countries. Find untapped markets.
Sure.
Come up with some new merchandising ideas. Think outside the box. Like Japan is not great at that.
Right.
Well, because
it's
not
not
only
only
for a while.
It's not only like, we could be complaining about like all the little shitty shows that come out, but like those don't matter. What matters is that those shows take away from shows that could be even greater.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That
So,
labor
like,
is wasted.
Yeah. So it's not like people are like, oh, well, who cares if they come out with shows that nobody's watching? Well, it's not those shows being affected. It's the other shows as well, because like you said, you could reallocate that labor, and the workflow and loads for these animation directors and, key animators and whatnot. So I don't know. I don't see anyone doing anything until the market demands it.
You want to know what the other thing is that I hadn't really brought up until just now?
What's that?
A lot of the labor that's being done in anime right now is overseas.
Well, yeah.
Now, I
And
guess
by overseas, you mean outside of Japan.
correct.
Yeah.
So you could, and this is kind of a very like sort of touchy conversation, but if you lay off, if you eliminate, the bottom 20% of the anime, and let's say hypothetically you have X number of Japanese animators that are now not working on anything, take those jobs away from the foreign outsourced labor because it's lower quality anyway. Take that away. Take Toei Animation's labor away.
Jesus Christ, Toei.
And give that work to the displaced animators that were working on the bottom 20%.
Yeah.
Because there's a ton of people in like the Philippines and Korea
Yeah.
that don't make as high quality animation as we've seen in Dragon Ball Super, etc.
Right. And especially with companies like Toei, you can afford to pay like Japanese animators. Like especially you're looking at these massive shows like Dragon Ball Super. It's like you have the budget.
So I think that like the solution is very flexible. There's options to try. What isn't flexible is the fact that the Japanese population is dropping. People don't want to do animation because it doesn't pay anything, and you're running out of people.
Yeah.
Like you will have no choice but to do this eventually.
Right.
Like, I mean, with Japan's population dropping by like, what's been like 500,000. I gotta find the number, but like it's been a lot. It's been dropping fast.
Right.
Faster than ever.
Yeah. I mean, people are getting old and dying, and people aren't being born to replace them. So it's unfortunate, but
yeah. So in 2014, Japan's population was 107 million. This figure is expected to shrink by 20 million people over the course of the 29 years. You're talking 750,000 people a year.
Yeah.
You're going to lose from Japan's population. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people entering retirement that are no longer going to be working. So like, this is going to happen actually, whether we want it to or not.
yeah.
So, but it's just interesting to hear like somebody from the industry,
I mean,
shouting out and be like, "Look, this is crazy."
I don't want to toot our own horn, Mitz, but I feel like we're pretty knowledgeable about this stuff, and yeah, so I'm not surprised.
I don't think I know shit.
I'm not. Well, that's that. How sad is that? That it's like we don't know shit, but
We know enough.
we know so it's like, yeah, you've been preaching that and all that stuff for so long, and we'll see what happens. I guess there's nothing we can really do.
I'm interested to see more than anything how Japan is able to turn their population problem around.
I'm just saying, Japanese studios, if you would like, please reach out to Mitz and I, and we will be consultants. We can help you out.
Sometimes consultants are needed because they come in as a third party who's very non-emotionally attached to the employees,
Right.
and they can make decisions like these 5 people need to go.
Yeah.
There are consultants that come in and they do that. They'll be like, even my company, this huge corporation brings in consultants to make very unemotional decisions that benefit the business. And sometimes that doesn't benefit the people, but sometimes getting rid of some people benefits the people that remain.
True.
So I don't know. Business is hard. Business is cold. It's cold and savage.
It's
But
unfortunate. Hopefully it all works out in the end.
moving on.
Let's move on.
That's not the right drop.
皆さんおめでとうございます Join us in Enzo Senpai's Notice Me Corner.
So Enzo is not here today, but as the other resident brown boy, I will take his place.
That's almost drop worthy right there.
So Enzo Senpai's Notice Me Corner is basically a little segment we have for you, the listener, where you can write in, let us know what's going on in your life, some recent accomplishments, some things you're working towards, perhaps. You can head over to the website under the Mailbag and More tab at the very top of the screen on the website. You can drop us a line specifically for Enzo Senpai's Notice Me Corner, just like Isekai Koma did. It says here, first off, thank you guys for the content you create. I will try to keep it short and sweet. I got married November 24th, 2018. Right. That's awesome. Congratulations. She is an amazing lady and accepts the fact that I can't go one day without watching pro wrestling or anime.
That is quite a woman.
Yeah, that's you got yourself a keeper there. I am now the proud stepfather of 3 wonderful kids.
Wow,
that's awesome.
Killing it.
I listen to the podcast with the kids on long drives. Ooh, okay.
Are they like too young to know what the F word is?
Maybe listen to it first before you share it with them.
Just don't listen to the hentai episodes. Those can be pretty rough.
Yeah, so it says, best part is my wife has promised to watch a full season of an anime show with me. She's a nurse, so I picked Cells at Work. Great choice.
Oh, she will love it.
Yes, great choice. Thank you for making my and my family's anime addiction worse. Well, thank you so much, Isekai Koma. We appreciate you, and congratulations. I hope that you all enjoy watching Cells at Work together.
She's going to love it.
And I will try not to say so many horrible things because I know your kids are listening. So I feel really bad about that. I'm pretty sure I already dropped the F-bomb a couple times this episode. My bad.
So now the real question is, you'll know she's a keeper if she can stomach one full episode of this podcast.
Yes.
That's the real trial right there. That is not an easy thing.
Yeah.
To withstand our bullshit for a full 2 hours.
That's
She will not only prove her mental toughness,
right,
but that she truly loves you if she's willing to do that for you, because we are insufferable.
Either that or she might be deaf, and you may want to take her to get checked out.
There's always that.
She might have lost her hearing at some point.
She might have been able to hear when she started the podcast, and by the end, well, she no longer could hear. She tore her ears off.
Yeah, no, her will to listen just like left her body, and so she can no longer hear.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's
congratulations.
move along. Thank you so much for writing in.
Howdy, partner. I seen you riding in on that dusty trail. Welcome to the good, the bad, and the moe.
All right. For the good this week, it is not Fortnite that is the #1 video game on Twitter.
Oh, wait, on Twitter?
On Twitter.
Okay.
The most discussed game is not Fortnite.
That's crazy.
So, Type Moon's hit game Fate Grand Order was the #1 discussed video game in 2018 on Twitter, unseating the unbeatable Fortnite.
That's crazy.
Among the 1 billion tweets that were made about video games in 2018.
Jeez.
A billion.
Good Lord.
Jesus.
Bunch of nerds.
The top 10 games were Fate Grand Order, Fortnite, Monster Strike, Platoon, PUBG, Grand Blue Fantasy, Ensemble Stars, Super Smash Bros., Overwatch, and Final Fantasy.
Wow.
But #1 was Fate Grand Order. So, anime is king.
I have not played Fate Grand Order. I've seen several Fate series, and they're
Go floss that, you little bastards. All right, for the bad, Alita Battle Angel on track to become Fox's final release and a $200 million flop.
Ooh.
Alita Battle Angel is set to release on February 14th, which is Valentine's Day, of course. 20th Century Fox, I think, was recently purchased by Disney, and it is going to be their last movie that comes out. Economics firms are estimating that the first 5-day opening will generate no more than $25 million domestically against a budget of nearly $200 million.
Ugh.
The final domestic estimate is at most $50 million. So
Wow.
obviously, I know we're going to talk about this more later, depending on how it really does.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
I'm hoping it does better.
these estimates, are often fairly accurate, but there have been times where they've been just completely off and something has hit, the pulse of the industry. And
We're going to talk about this more later because if James Cameron and the rest of the ridiculous star power behind this movie can't make it a success, it's not good. For the Moe, the anime film Mirai wins the Annie Award. Mamoru Hosoda's film Mirai won the Best Animated Independent Feature category at the 46th Annual Annie Awards. Mirai depicts a young boy who happens upon a magical garden, enabling him to travel through time and encounter relatives from different eras, guided by his little sister from the future.
Yeah, that's my dog, Hosoda. What's up?
The Annie Awards are one of the highest honors in animation and are basically the equivalent of the Academy Awards for anime. So this is a pretty huge accomplishment for Hosoda, and apparently, that makes Mirai top shit right now.
I've been telling everybody for years. Look out for my guy.
Look out.
That's awesome to hear, though. All right. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for an anime news break. Before we go to that, though, we have a trivia on the website. Of course, you can head over to AAAPodcast.com. Scroll on down. There's a weekly trivia. The answer for this week is The Cat Returns.
That's right.
Starring the Cat King.
It's another pile of
Kazuo.
food.
No, not Kazuo.
It was that scene in The Cat Returns with like the giant jelly mold.
Yeah.
Have you seen The Cat Returns?
Yeah, a long time ago, though. So.
One of the characters gets stuck in the jelly mold.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
very
yeah.
silly, but it's food. The theme is anime food.
Yes, and the winner for the week is Golden Jedi Link, and the theme will continue to be Ghibli foods.
That's right.
So head over to the website for the next edition of that. In the meantime, we do have an in-show weekly trivia question that we will answer when we come back from our news break, and that is, what car company makes the Takahashi brothers cars in the anime Initial D? I know the answer to this, but do you? Find out after the break.
Hey, you wild anime addicts out there, I know you're jonesing for your anime news. Mitsugi's here to bring it to you. Getting us started off, music publisher Flying Dog has launched a website celebrating its 10th anniversary, and in doing so, they have announced a new film that's going to be coming out in 2020 titled Cider no Yo ni Kotoba ga Waki Agaru, which is a film that has an art style that is pretty much unique to anything that I've seen before. It's very, very unusual looking. Probably worth checking out the trailer. It actually looks quite beautiful. The director is going to be Kyohei Ishiguro, who worked on Your Lie in April. So if you're a fan of very colorful films, I would say this is one that you would probably want to check out. Next up, A3, the game, is getting an anime adaptation. The synopsis: on the street away from Voluto, Tokyo, called Voluto Way, is the popular city for having many theater groups. One day, Izumi Tachibana, who has previously been a stage actress, arrives with a letter delivered to her, suddenly written, full of debt, 0 customers, only 1 actor. It describes a theater group that was once popular. She has to rebuild the theater company Mankai by being the owner and chief director. So definitely an interesting little premise there about a theater group that is going to be presumably disbanded maybe, or considered bankrupt if she doesn't come in and save the group. Director Keisuke Fujiwara, who worked on Devilman Crybaby. So if you're a fan of anime about theater, or if you like artsy things in general, this one might be worth checking out. It certainly looks interesting. Catching us up on the weekly manga rankings in Japan from January 21st to the 27th, top 5 on the list: Diamond, Ace of Diamond, Act 2, Volume 15, Skip Beat, Volume 43, Giant Killing, Volume 50, Nanatsu no Taizai, Volume 35, and coming in at number 1, but with way more sales than anybody else, Kingdom, Volume 53. So Kingdom continues to be extremely popular in Japan. And rounding out the news today, Twitter blew up this past week with what would surprise some and probably not surprise others, as there were allegations of sexual misconduct against Vic Mignogna, the voice actor who's very popular in the United States and elsewhere. If you are interested in reading about this, there's a very long article on Anime News Network, and also there are definitely a lot of things to read on Twitter about it. So you can go check it out if you want to read more about this story, and I'm sure we'll be talking about it perhaps if there are significant developments later. This was Mitsugi, and this was your Anime News Break. Now, getting back to the podcast right now.
My friends are annoyed because they think I have forgotten their actual names. I just call them my senpais and kohais now.
I threw a tennis ball at my cat. I was so caught up in the moment and thought maybe I could capture her, and then we could go on adventures together.
I purchased a motorcycle just so I could pretend I was Onizuka.
I answered the phone with Moshi Moshi.
My poor cat.
I may actually have a problem.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time.
Hello, I'm Mandy from the Anime Addicts Anonymous. Do any of these symptoms sound familiar to you? Do you have 8,572 waifus? Do you struggle with having the theme song to Attack on Titan stuck in your head, even though Jaeger is the only word you know? Then you may be experiencing anime addiction. If you are experiencing anime addiction, then you should visit our website, AAAPodcast.com. At Anime Addicts Anonymous, we have dedicated ourselves to making your anime addiction worse. Worse! Yes, worse. Because the real world just plain sucks. So many resources await you. For just $5 a month, you will have unlimited access to our Hobby Addicts episodes. You will also have access to our hentai episodes, where you can watch a hentai along with us and hear our commentary. Give our after party episodes a listen, where you can hear us struggle to talk about our boring lives outside of anime. That $5 will go to helping us spread anime addiction throughout the world. Yes, it is time for you to make your anime addiction worse.
And we are back to the 458th episode of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast.
Yeah.
Mitz, before we went on our news break, we asked an In-Show Weekly trivia question.
Yes, we did.
Would you mind repeating that?
From the anime Initial D, what car company makes the Takahashi brothers cars?
That would be Mazda.
Mazda.
They both drive RX-7s. Specifically, one drives an FC model and the other drives an FD model.
And he's very proud of his FD.
Yes, very proud. God, I love that show so
Initial
much.
D is really freaking good.
Is it though?
The first few seasons, up until season 4, I think it's awesome.
I feel like it's one of those shows that you go back and watch and you have to put on your nostalgia glasses though. Because,
Well, it looks like shit.
Yes, it looks terrible.
Season 4 looks good. Season 1 looks terrible. Season 2 looks a little better. Part 3 is like a movie, and then part 4 looks okay.
Yeah, and dude, do you ever listen to the English dub of like the first season?
Yes, I did. I feel like I watched it dubbed the first time.
Yeah.
This is one of those animes that I got from Netflix and like the little DVD sleeves. Burned the crap out of them and then sent them back.
I think I still owned the first season on DVD. Like I got like a DVD box set of the first season, and it came with like a decal for your car.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
But the racing scenes are really good.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. So, oh bless you. So on today's episode, our main topic is going to be a fun one here. We're going to be talking about Dragon Ball Z. Specifically, for those that are in the know on the internet, there are a plethora of Dragon Ball Z fan theories.
A ton of them.
A ton of them.
And we're going to shred that shit.
So we found a website here that compiled, I guess, the top 15 Dragon Ball Z
There's
fan
more than
theories.
15 of them.
Is there?
There's closer to 40.
Right, but on that particular website, did they
The same website has multiple entries into this.
Okay. I was just looking at the first link.
And I've sort of wrote down the ones that I thought were the most interesting.
Okay, sure.
And I tried to avoid ones that talked very much about Dragon Ball Super because I know you haven't watched all of it.
Yeah, I saw some on there, and I was like, I'm not familiar with this, so I can't really say. But yeah, so we're gonna go over some of the more interesting fan theories of Dragon Ball, and kind of discuss whether we think that they are interesting and possible or just complete bullshit.
Does this music right here just give you like good feelings?
It does, man. I'll tell you what. For a while, I was watching an episode of Dragon Ball before bed every night. I gotta pick that back up. I think I'm like, I don't know how, I'm like 40 episodes into Dragon Ball again.
What a great idea. Because Dragon Ball is like, it's my happy spot.
Yeah. Just put on an episode while you're in bed before you go to sleep. It's a good thing.
Now, did you start from Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z?
Dragon Ball. Well, back in the day, I just started in Dragon Ball Z, of course. But like, currently I'm watching Dragon Ball.
If you do all of Dragon Ball, then do Dragon Ball Z.
Yes.
It will take you something like, and you never miss a day.
Right.
It would take you like 2 straight years.
That's crazy. But it's totally worth it.
Yeah.
Now, this topic came up because I had a theory recently that you...
I was interested in your theory.
That you were interested in, and so you looked up if there were some other theories. I guess for those that don't know, the theory that I had was that Goku in Dragon Ball... and I guess I probably thought about this because I started watching Dragon Ball again. I think he is more powerful than the Goku in Dragon Ball Z.
And I just don't see how that's possible.
Well,
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
to me.
and so...
You want to start with this one?
Sure. So here's my reasoning. I will defend this.
All right, do it.
My reasoning is that Goku in Dragon Ball Z and in GT and in Super is... his power is measured. It's numerical. There's a value placed on it. You know, your power level is 100 or is 1,000,000 or what have you. And so it's quantified. It's quantifiable. Goku in Dragon Ball, he was always as powerful as he needed to be to overcome the enemy, regardless of what enemy was put before him.
Okay.
So his character in Dragon Ball, I feel like, and I guess really the way that they wrote the manga and created him from the beginning was to be more of like a mythological creature. Like he was created.
Well, he's Sun Wukong.
Yeah, he's
Sun
Sun Wukong,
King.
the Monkey King from Chinese literature and lore. And so his character at that time was just a mythological, a magic boy who has a tail and is like he's the Monkey King, and he defeats the enemy and is as powerful as is needed in order to overcome the obstacles. Whereas in Dragon Ball Z, he's very, like I said, he's quantified. Like it's measurable. He's no longer magical.
Yeah, but just because they don't measure his power level in Dragon Ball doesn't mean that he's more powerful. His power level could just be 100 or 300.
But the power levels didn't exist then.
So you haven't, but that's just an assumption. You have really no proof about it.
Unless I guess unless Akira Toriyama already had the whole thing planned out from the start, where he's like, this magic boy is eventually gonna have a power level of 150 or whatever.
I mean, like the fact that Goku would barely defeat King Piccolo.
Right, but he did.
He did, but like Piccolo is, are you completely separating Dragon Ball from Dragon Ball Z?
Yeah,
because like Piccolo is like nothing compared to the rest of the characters towards the end of Dragon Ball Z.
Sure.
So
yeah, but what I'm saying is at the time that Dragon Ball was around, that didn't exist. Like it was literally just, this is a magic boy that we found in a forest who's defeating all the bad guys.
I don't know. I just think power levels were a thing that they did for a while because it was fun. You know, even in Dragon Ball, they don't really discuss power levels past Frieza.
In Dragon Ball Z, you mean?
In Dragon Ball Z, I don't recall them ever mentioning anybody's power level past, like, Frieza was like, 1,000,000.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Everyone's like, 1,000,000? What, 1,000,000?
But by that point, they had already kind of like, it had already become a thing on the internet. And you can go and like, I remember back in the day Googling like, power levels from Dragon Ball Z to see who was how powerful when and all that stuff.
Well, yeah, I googled what Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan Gogeta's power level is.
Jesus Christ.
It's 48 quintillion.
ridiculous.
That's like 26 zeros.
Yeah, that's insane.
So I don't know. It's a decent theory. I don't think there's like a lot of evidence to make it. To me, I don't really buy it too much.
Yeah, I get that. That was just like my little view on the matter, but it's, you know.
And that's mostly just because in the scope of like the 800 episodes of Dragon Ball or whatever that exist, they really only discuss power levels for maybe 120 of them.
Right.
And then the rest of it is, so it's almost more of an abnormality to even discuss the power levels. I think it was just something because people got obsessed with it and it worked.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, power levels are so cool.
I think what for me, it's just that I feel that Goku in Dragon Ball is not a Saiyan. He's an unknown quantity. He is a mythological magic boy they found in a forest in Dragon Ball up until Raditz shows up.
Or on a space pod.
Right. Well, they don't discuss that until Dragon Ball.
Dragon
Ball Z, I mean. Yeah.
All right, moving on.
Yeah.
So we got some fan theories here that you haven't heard of yet. And starting off, and I just wrote down the ones that like I thought were the most interesting. But if in going through this list, you look at the website and you see another one that you think is interesting, we can of course talk about it. But the first fan theory here is that half Saiyans are more powerful than regular Saiyans.
That I feel like is a fact.
And so the theory is that Goten, and a lot of this is coming off of the Screen Rant website because they've done a good job of like researching people's theories through forums and stuff. And the theory is that Goten and Gohan could master moves because they're half Saiyans. And, you know, Gohan had been training at a young age compared to Goku. Goten became Super Saiyan. Like even when he was fighting Chi-Chi,
yeah.
like for no reason at all. Kid Trunks.
Well, and then you have was it Pan, who was a Super Saiyan in the womb?
Yeah,
which is ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. You know, in Dragon Ball Z, Goku realized that Gohan was way more powerful than he was during the Cell Saga, and he trains Gohan because he knows that Gohan is the one that will truly defeat Cell. But like, I guess it depends on how you quantify power because, you know, in a certain sense, no one in Dragon Ball ever really wanted to, you know, sometimes, you know, there's power and then there's power that's driven by like hard work and through like your dedication. Right. And like in Dragon Ball Z, Gohan might have been on the path to become the most powerful, like in Dragon Ball at the end of the Cell Saga, but he doesn't really choose to go that direction. You know,
that's because he's a loser.
That's because he wants to study and whatever.
Yeah.
So, and meanwhile, Goku just keeps going and becomes more and more powerful. So, but the problem with this theory is that it doesn't have much, unless you simply look at the fact that they're younger. Like they are more powerful than Goku was at their age.
Yes.
Which totally destroys your theory, by the way. Because
not necessarily.
Well, I mean, if Goten is more powerful than Goku was when he was, in Dragon Ball, then
if we're measuring power levels and all that stuff,
well, they never measure Goten's power level at any point. That's past the Frieza point where they're measuring power.
But by
level.
that point, you already have like a precedent that's set, and so you know, scale wise where they stand.
I personally just think that they did this not because half Saiyans are more powerful than full Saiyans, but simply because it's a shonen show and they have to keep raising the bar to make the characters relevant.
Yeah, I don't think there's any like I don't think Akira Toriyama is like, and the half Saiyans are more powerful. I just think it was a matter of like convenience in storytelling that they were like, you know, whatever.
They wanted to have fresh characters.
These little 8-year-old kids are going to be Super Saiyan 3.
I think that like some production companies said, Akira Toriyama, you need to have more characters so we can make more plastic figures. Right. So Trunks and Goten became a thing. And then they fused them to make Gotenks, and that was really fun for people.
I hated Gotenks.
Gotenks is stupid, but then like, you know, and so it wasn't that it isn't that, you know, there's no theory behind it. It's just simply a shonen show, and so that's why. Do we agree with that?
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on.
Okay.
The next one here. Do you want to see the next one?
Yeah. Well, actually, there was one that I think you skipped.
Well, I didn't say all of them, but if there's
right, but this is one that I wanted to talk about.
Okay, good.
So one of the ones they have on the list here is, because this is one that I also believe, Krillin is, well, it says here is actually the strongest character in the series. That's not true. Krillin is the strongest human in the series.
Okay. I mean, I'll bite on that immediately.
Okay. I feel like it's pretty undeniable. Out of the other human characters in the series, Krillin is by far the strongest. Not only that,
Full human.
full human, yeah. I mean, the Saiyans and the half Saiyans and the Namekians and all that stuff, obviously they're not human beings. They're not from Earth originally.
What about Tien?
I think Krillin's stronger than Tien.
I mean, in Dragon Ball
And
Super...
have we determined that Tien, is he full human?
I don't know. I mean, he's presumed to be human.
Yeah.
But like in Dragon Ball Super, Tien fights, pretty well.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Krillin's getting his like ass kicked by like
Well,
like
that's
bank
because he's the
robbers.
comic relief. But Krillin is also more of a strategist, I feel like. Krillin is often surrounded by people that are much stronger than him, like just power level wise, and he tends to overcome and finds ways around it. Like it talks about in this article when fighting Vegeta. Krillin almost killed Nappa.
Almost,
like straight up. Like
Yeah.
if Vegeta hadn't told Nappa to get out of the way, Nappa would have been cut in half immediately and dead.
I would
And
have loved to have seen that.
that would have been hilarious.
That would have been such an intense moment.
Yeah, he's also the only human to defeat a Cyberman. So
yeah.
he defeated all of them, really, almost all of them in one blast.
How did the Cybermen get killed?
He did like a massive blast that like split off into a bunch of different smaller blasts and then like just nuked them all.
Really? Is that how it happened?
Yeah. So like Krillin is and meanwhile Yamcha like immediately just got roasted.
Doesn't Piccolo take out at least a couple of them?
I think but so like Krillin takes out a bunch and then I think one doesn't
I feel like
hit and then that Cyberman like dives after Gohan and then Krillin like grabs its arm.
Doesn't
and, like,
Tien
blows
take
it.
one out also? Because Tien gets really pissed when Chaozu gets destroyed. Chaozu suicides.
No,
and
that's
then-
when he goes and fights Nappa and then gets his arm cut off and stuff and gets wrecked.
Yeah, but I thought he helped defeat a Cyberman before that.
I don't think so.
I'd like to watch that
It
whole
was
section of the show
first
again.
Cyberman blew himself up and killed Yamcha. Then Krillin got pissed off and blew up almost all of them. He missed one, which then dove after Gohan, and then Piccolo grabbed his arm and like just freaking demolished him. And that was the end of the Cybermen,
Okay.
to my knowledge.
It's been a while for me.
But yeah, so
I mean, I'll bite on this. I'm not really sure if he would defeat.
Icy Rose does say that Tien takes one out. I don't remember.
I thought he did.
He might have. But either way,
I'd like to
Krillin
watch-
took out a bunch of them in one blast.
I just don't know if Tien is more powerful than Krillin, and I think that like Tien, like I said, Tien had the drive to keep training.
Right.
And in Dragon Ball Super, he still has a couple episodes where he's in there and he's
Yeah.
like pretty strong. Like he looks way stronger than Krillin ever was.
Right.
But meanwhile, Krillin gives up like Gohan and decides to live a life of peace.
Well, that's because, I
So-
mean,
Yeah. So what I'm saying is
because
like,
Krillin's got other things going on, with all of his ladies that he's constantly getting.
But I would argue that even in Dragon Ball Z, Krillin wasn't as powerful as Tien because Tien has moments during the Android saga where he pins down Imperfect Cell
That's true. That was a badass scene.
for like a while. He
Yeah,
pins him down.
with the tri-beam blast.
And no one else could fight him, and Tien comes in and he like shows what's up.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see Tien and Krillin fight, but I kind of
I don't think they've ever fought. Now that I think about it, not even in Dragon Ball.
I mean, yeah, I don't remember if they fight in the tournament or not.
No, I don't
but
think so.
Tien has some pretty good moments, I will say, in like pretty deep into Dragon Ball Z. So anyway, it's interesting. It's an interesting theory. I have no way to say like which ones, like if it's real or not.
Yeah.
Now another theory here: the Earth would have been conquered if not for Goku.
The Earth would have been conquered.
The Earth would have been conquered.
Well, yeah, I feel like that's pretty obvious. Like on several occasions. Although there is an argument to be made that the Earth would have been totally fine if Goku was never there. Because when you think about it, everything that went down was because of Goku. Like Raditz and Nappa and Vegeta show up because of Goku. Frieza shows up because of Goku. The Red Ribbon Army, Cell, and the androids because of Goku. So if Goku wasn't there, I think there's an argument to be made that the Earth would have been, although they would have still had to deal with King Piccolo.
And there's still the Red Ribbon Army.
Yeah, but they were losers. What are they going to do?
I mean, but like it took that magical boy on a cloud to take them down. Think about how weak everybody else in Dragon Ball is. Like all the police officers and stuff, they can't do shit.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know. You
I
think
know.
Master Roshi could have taken those guys out, though? I think so. Definitely. He's
Maybe.
more powerful than Goku he's as powerful or maybe slightly more powerful in the tournament arc.
Master Roshi fights in the universe battle of gods or whatever in Dragon Ball Super.
That's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. Makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
I actually don't like this theory much. I don't know what we're proving here. More or less.
Yeah.
I think that without Goku, the Saiyans would never have come to Earth, or would they have? Another fan theory. Are you ready?
They would have sent someone, because that's why they sent Goku in the first place.
Well, not according to the Broly movie.
Oh, don't get me started on that.
Okay, so
Superman rewrite.
Okay, here. So let me tie this in with you. Let me tie this theory to another theory real quick.
Okay.
There's another theory that if it hadn't been that Bulma actually caused the Saiyan saga to occur.
Oh, I love that theory.
So, you've heard this one.
Yes.
So the theory is that throughout all of Dragon Ball, Bulma was always trying to
Wish for a boyfriend.
Yep. And
she got her wish.
There is a time in Dragon Ball in which there's like a gap in time in which you could assume possibly that Bulma, while you don't see it, that Bulma could have rounded up the Dragon Balls again and had wished for a boyfriend.
Yep.
And that the Eternal Dragon, being not all powerful, couldn't create a being out of thin air, but he could steer a being to show up on Earth.
Right.
And who might that be?
It
could be your man Vegeta.
That's right.
And so
that's hilarious. I love that theory.
So you could say that if Goku hadn't been on Earth, the Raditz wouldn't have come looking for his brother, and then the Saiyans wouldn't have come looking for the Dragon Balls, but would they have? Because Vegeta may have come one way or the other.
Because of Bulma and her wish. Damn.
So you could almost argue that whether Goku's there or not, Vegeta would be there whether Goku existed or not.
Yeah. But if he came in his original state of wanting to like destroy everything, then that's not boyfriend material. So it's almost like the entire the strands of fate had to be redirected.
Yeah, but the dragon is smart. Yeah. He knows that he sets this in motion and he sees everything happening. And he's like years down the road, Vegeta will become a good guy and he will.
And didn't they try to get the dragon to wish for Vegeta and Nappa to not come to Earth or to be destroyed or something like that?
I thought it was to what didn't they say to get rid of the Saiyans?
Yeah. And he was like, I can't do that or whatever, it's not within my power. Maybe he couldn't do it because he had already answered another wish and he couldn't answer conflicting wishes.
See, this is pretty interesting.
Dude.
It's not bad.
I like it. I think that's a good theory. It's legit.
Mm-hmm.
Blame Bulma.
Bulma, by shaping the events that would lead to Vegeta becoming a good guy, which includes fighting Frieza and everything else.
Right.
You could argue that if Bulma made that wish, she shaped a whole bunch of the Dragon Ball Z story.
Frieza really was the pinnacle of Dragon Ball Z. That Namek saga, and because you think about when Vegeta finally didn't even really become good, but just when he was killed and all that stuff, and he's talking to Goku, and that was such an emotional scene.
Really, and Frieza's like, "Shut up!" And shut up, or however Frieza talks, just nukes him.
Yeah, that was because all Vegeta wanted was revenge for his people.
Frieza's a bad dude. That's the first point, and maybe in any of the Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball episodes, where there's a point in time. Well, I guess the Saiyans do kill off a few. Yeah, I guess that's not true because the Saiyans do kill a bunch of characters.
Yeah, but they're soldiers, and
I was just gonna say that Frieza was the first point in which people were getting knocked off viciously, but that doesn't really happen because the Saiyans come and kill almost everybody.
Yeah, true.
Well, all the weak people. Yeah, so that's not a bad one.
Interesting.
All right.
We should do Dragon Ball Z recap episodes where we just we break down each episode of Dragon Ball Z. That'd be amazing.
Gonna do that.
That'd be so much fun.
There's not a whole lot happening in Dragon Ball episodes though, so you might want to do. We might want to do 3 episode chunks.
Yeah, that'll work.
Some of them are just full of nothing.
Yeah, I'd be Goku got his driver's license, or no, he didn't. He failed.
Yeah, does Piccolo get his?
I think Piccolo gets his, and Goku fails. They both suck at it.
Yeah. What do they need driver's licenses for? So stupid.
Because Chi-Chi was you're a bum. Get a car.
Such a bitch.
Get a license.
All right. So the next theory is that Saiyans and humans are distantly related.
I don't know about that.
Their DNA is very similar. It must be because they can breed.
Sure.
So there's that. So that explains why Goten and Gohan were born without any problems.
Right.
So the Saiyans are, aliens ostensibly, but they look a lot like humans.
Right. And apparently they have similar reproductive capabilities to humans.
They can transform into apes, which are distant relatives of humans.
Sure.
Monkey and human DNA are pretty similar.
But like monkeys and humans can't procreate. Can they?
Not that I'm aware of.
Dude, that would be... Has anybody ever tested this? It's terrible.
So there's this theory but honestly, like, I don't really buy this theory because I feel like it's also just convenience for the story, because people watching a show are gonna like a show a lot more if they can kind of relate to the characters, and making them look like humans and normal anime characters makes them a lot more like easy on the eyes and like likable.
Peter Wright in the chat says Goku and Piccolo's driving lessons and the Great Saiyaman episodes are the best episodes of Dragon Ball Z. I don't know if that's true. They're certainly entertaining.
See, my favorite part of Dragon Ball is still the Android saga.
Mine's the Namek saga. The Frieza saga.
I like how desperate the Android saga is.
Yeah, especially the history of Trunks. That is just, man.
Even when Android 17 and 18 come and they just wrecking everybody.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Do you remember how badly Android 18 beats the shit out of Vegeta? She wrecks him.
She like breaks his arm and stuff.
She fucks him up so bad.
Yeah, dude.
And then and everyone's dying, and then Piccolo comes, and Piccolo tries to fight 17, and he can't beat him. And Piccolo actually, that's a friggin' badass fight in Dragon Ball.
Piccolo's a badass, 100%.
When he goes and fuses with Kami to fight 17, and that is a vicious, violent fight. It's awesome.
Dude, Piccolo
Android Saga is awesome.
I mean, he is certainly one of my favorite characters. There's so many great characters in Dragon Ball Z. Like, it's hard to say who my favorite is, but Piccolo is way up there.
I think Dragon Ball Z is awesome content until the end of the Cell Saga, and then after that, it's dog shit.
And then it shits the bed. Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it had run its course with Majin Buu, who, by the way, is going to come up in another fan theory. But do we buy this theory about the humans? I mean, do not.
I don't think that they are related in that they are like an offshoot of human, because they're from a completely different planet, like way far away. But I guess genetically they're similar enough that they're able to like procreate and stuff.
Humans are so low tech in Dragon Ball. Like, how would they even...
Low tech.
They are.
Yeah.
They're like mostly low tech, right?
Right.
How would they even get out there? And it takes a space pod moving like 1 billion miles an hour, like, a whole year to get there?
Yeah.
I mean, the planet Vegeta must be really freaking far away.
Well, no, not anymore.
Well, now it's gone.
Yeah.
All right. What's the next theory here?
Majin Buu. Majin Buu is a representation of Japan's view of the United States of America. That is so I feel like the reason they're saying this is because he's constantly eating a bunch and he's fat.
Well, like, yeah, I mean, that's part of it.
I don't know if I buy that as like a theory. I don't think Akira Toriyama is that like vicious. What do you think?
Well, so there are some things here that are mentioned in the article. Buu eats a lot of fast food.
Yes.
And he's really good friends with Goku until he turns against him because of conflict, which I think is kind of talking about World War II. Because Japan was this country that was peaceful with the U.S. until World War II, and then that whole thing happened. Mm-hmm. Majin Buu destroyed a city at some point in Dragon Ball, which exploded into a mushroom cloud. Which I do remember, and that is, alluding to things,
right? And
this is,
yeah, I get where they're coming from, but I just don't know if. No, I
and there's a picture of Buu on this website.
What is he eating? Oh,
he turned one of the characters into a giant cookie.
Yeah,
and ate him.
Wasn't it what was like the devil-looking dude?
Deborah.
Yeah, was that him?
What a bad character that was.
Jesus. Yeah, the Buu saga was rough. Like, it started off okay with like the moments with Vegeta, like when he accepts the power of
It had moments
because and then like he blows himself up and like it's all about like saving his son and stuff. And
Super Saiyan 3 is cool.
Yeah.
Vegito is kind of cool.
Tanks can freaking jump off a cliff. I hate them so much.
Goku's fight with Majin Vegeta is really neat.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of dumb shit in there.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's so many more of these. Saiyans can mimic moves after they see or experience them.
I feel like that's historically accurate.
Is it?
Yeah, like Goku, when he first saw Master Roshi use the Kamehameha wave and immediately used it.
That's true. That did happen.
Yeah. So,
Hmm.
and he's, yeah.
Goku mastered the Destructo Disc without any problem, as I recall.
True. Yeah. Even Gohan, like Masenko and stuff, like they pick up moves almost immediately, it would seem.
It's not really explicitly stated.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Apparently in the manga, Goku mastered the destruction technique from Birusu.
I am unfamiliar with that technique.
It's basically energy that obliterates everything that it touches, including like people's souls and everything.
Oh.
So if it hits you, you just evaporate into nothing and you're gone.
Jesus.
So it's a lot more powerful than like a energy blast that would have to like be able to destroy someone physically. It literally just erases you.
Wow. Okay. That's not very Goku-like.
No, it's not.
Strange that he would use that.
Yeah. Well, there's theories that in the upcoming Dragon Ball movies, Goku may become a god of destruction.
I don't know if I like that.
Well, there's a theory about that. And that some of the upcoming movies will have Vegeta as the main character. Which I am not sure about because I don't think Akira Toriyama really likes Vegeta that much.
No, you don't think so?
No.
I like Vegeta.
I mean, I like Vegeta as well, but I don't think Akira
I like
Toriyama
Vegeta
does.
when Vegeta like comes out of his like bitter shell. Like when he shows like emotion like towards like his wife and kid.
As long as they keep animating him and modeling him correctly, I like him anytime.
Yeah. Like when fighting Cell, when Cell blasted Trunks and Vegeta like freaks out because he just killed his son and stuff.
And then he gets wrecked.
Yeah, then he gets completely demolished. But like when he shows that emotion, that's when I love Vegeta. It's like because he's just such an angry, like, keeps everyone at bay and doesn't care about anybody, but he cares.
I'll say that like Dragon Ball has more moments of I'm pissed off and I'm way more powerful because of it than probably any other show.
Yeah,
when you're a kid and something happens and you're like, oh shit, he's about to pop off. That happens from like episode 3 of Dragon Ball Z with Gohan.
Yeah,
flipping his shit.
Yeah, 100%.
The Saiyans have anger problems, man. They
Until
are rageaholics.
until they go. What was that latest transformation that Goku achieved? The
Super Saiyan Blue.
No. Like the most recent thing where he like, it's Instinct or something like that.
All like Ultra Instinct.
Yeah. Then it's like, no, there is no anger, dude. It's all like
I'm all just flowy.
peace and stuff.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Anyway, you haven't even watched that section.
I know
of the
it's
show.
dumb. I don't even want to watch it.
Another fan theory. Perfect Cell can asexually reproduce because he absorbed Android 18 and 17.
Okay, yeah. I mean, he does. Like, he creates all those cell clones, right?
There's an idea that there's a theory that Dr. Giro made Android 18 and 17 from kidnapping them like children from a family and made them into androids.
Ooh.
And that they were intentionally a boy and a girl, and that Cell was created with the ability to have that functionality to make himself even more unstoppable by being able to reproduce, and to do so he needed to have male and female sex organs. And
So the theory is that he can only reproduce because he absorbed 17 or 18.
Correct.
Ah, okay.
And that Dr. Giro was all part of Dr. Giro's plan to ensure that like the world would be destroyed, because now Cell could not only be like all powerful, but he could also reproduce.
Why did Dr. Giro want to destroy the world again?
It was Red Ribbon Army like bullshit from way back in Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
He's pissed off at Goku, I thought.
Right.
And wanted to conquer the world in the name of the Red Ribbon Army. Like Dr. Giro has, I think that's what happens.
So he didn't want to destroy the world. He wanted
to conquer it.
Right.
And the Android 17 and 18 were laid dormant in like their little capsules. And he made himself and Android 19 into androids because I think that he thought that he could handle things on his own, but as a backup plan, he had all these other things set in motion. But as I recall, he even has the Red Ribbon Army logo on him.
Right.
Because he's still fighting for the army.
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay.
So are we buying that theory? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, well, he is able to reproduce. I don't know if it's specifically because of 17 and 18.
It's kind of incestual if it's true, because now you're like asexually reproducing with siblings.
Are they siblings though?
Yeah, they're twins.
What? I didn't know that. Wait, are they
Google
really?
that shit.
Androids 17 and 18 are twins.
That's what or at least brother and sister. Go ahead, look that shit up. Meanwhile, I will introduce another theory.
Okay.
Oh, it looks like you already found it. In the
Okay. Apparently this seems legit. So Android 17's real name is Lapis, while Android 18 is Lazuli. They were human siblings before becoming androids.
Yep. Dr. Giro kidnapped them and turned them into androids.
Oh.
All right, so the next fan theory is that Goku and Frieza's 5-minute fight takes so long because you're seeing it in super slow motion.
No. No. Well, parts of it, sure, but like the fight itself, there are several like monologues throughout the fight, which unless they're talking incredibly fast.
Well, the idea was that they were so fat, they were moving so quickly,
Yeah.
that basically, in order to make the fight visible and this is on a different website here, I'll post the link for you.
Yeah, I'm looking at the website right now.
That's the wrong website for this one.
Oh, you got a whole different. Jeez, how many links you got?
Yeah, I screwed. I posted the same link twice, so here I'll post the other one. So the theory is that in order for us as people to be able to even like see the fight happening, they slowed it down because Goku and Frieza were supposed to be moving so quickly at that point that we're actually watching the fight in slow motion.
So in the moments that they are moving and fighting, yes.
They're so fast.
But in the moments that they're just sitting there monologuing, no, that doesn't make sense.
I guess you're right. Debunked. What now?
Yeah.
Punk.
Here's another one here that I can actually answer and solve for you. It says that Goku cannot combine his Super Saiyan and Kaioken transformations.
That is...
So, here's the deal. When Goku was fighting Frieza, and I guess this would have been before he turned Super Saiyan, if I recall. Like, someone had asked, like I forget who asked, somebody asked, why doesn't he use Kaioken?
I thought it was Krillin, maybe. He's talking to King Kai about it?
Yeah, I think so. And I think King Kai said he's been using it the whole time. Like, he's just constantly using it. Like, he doesn't have to, like, summon that power. Like, he just immediately, when he powers up, he's already in, like, Kaioken state.
Kaioken's so cool.
Yeah, dude. Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? Like, when he's fighting Vegeta?
Oh, my God. And he's, like, super... ×10!
Yeah. So crazy. Ridiculous.
Oh, my God. You know what? I'm freaking jacked
So
up.
over the top.
All right. Next fan theory is that it had been so long since the last Saiyan had gone Super Saiyan because of the lack of emotion that did not allow them to transform. And so the reason why a lot of the Earthlings /Saiyans are Super Saiyan is because Earthlings are more emotional, and their human emotions allow them to transform because of they're more emotional because they're human. Is the theory.
I guess. Super Saiyan, like, do you remember when Super Saiyan was like a myth?
When it was like so cool.
You remember when like Super Saiyan was like, once every 1,000 years, a Super Saiyan is born. And then it was just like...
Well, yeah, that's why Broly was a thing, because they all wanted to go find this supposed Super Saiyan that was sitting on some random planet.
Then it was just like... Dude, and then do you remember like the turmoil of like when Vegeta was like, can it be? Is Goku a Super Saiyan? And he was like freaking out because he's
pissed.
like, you can't... No, it's supposed to be me, like after 1,000 years or whatever. Yeah, and then all of a sudden, like, you have, fetus Super Saiyans.
I don't even remember, when does Vegeta go Saiyan? Super Saiyan.
Go Super Saiyan?
Was it inside this one of the gravity chamber?
So he became Super Saiyan while training for, it was for the androids.
Was he in this? Was he in the?
No, he was like on a planet, and there was like meteors coming at him and stuff, and he was like destroying them, and he was about to be killed, and then he turned Super Saiyan for the first time. But it was him preparing for the androids to come.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
How did he even get there?
Huh?
How does he get on a different planet?
He's got a ship. His wife builds spaceships, bro.
It's just random. Why would he bother?
Yeah.
Let's do a couple more of these.
All right.
We got a few more minutes. Namekians are actually the lowest form of Kai.
The lowest form of Kai.
Right.
I don't know if that's the case. They're more likely to become Kai.
So they're this mythical race sort of that has really crazy abilities that most other characters don't have.
Right.
They create the Dragon Balls, which is a big thing. So the lowest form of Kai have, share some of the physical characteristics with Namekians too, like they have antennas and they have pointy ears and stuff.
I think the Namekians are just more capable of becoming like higher beings because they're more evolved in a lot of ways. So, but I don't know if they're not like gods, but they have the capability of becoming gods.
I think and I don't think this is a theory, but I think the whole Kai thing is dumb as shit, period. Like, they don't even need to exist. They have they serve no purpose.
Well, King Kai, like the whole snake way training and stuff.
Other than King Kai.
Yeah.
The rest of them are just, why are they there? To like look at things and go, ooh, ah.
Yeah, right. That's true.
They're almost like sports commentators.
They are.
Because they don't do shit. They just sit there and like use telepathy or whatever to watch things from a distance.
Right. Yeah, you're
But
right.
that's kind of like what King Kai is. They should have just used King Kai the whole time because he's, awesome.
True.
All right, so we don't like that one. Goten was conceived while Goku was in Super Saiyan mode.
I don't understand this one.
Many fans, here, I'm gonna reference the site for this one.
Okay.
Many fans thought that it was strange when Goku's second son, Goten, reached Super Saiyan at a very young age, while Vegeta's son, along with Vegeta's son Trunks, the series had made a big deal about going Super Saiyan, and now children could do it with ease. So people are saying that because it's so easy for them to do it, that Goten was conceived. Goten was conceived shortly before the Cell games because he was born 9 months afterwards, and I think they even say
and
that
that's
in the
when
series.
Goku and Gohan were staying in their Super Saiyan forms.
And Goku was spending
training.
all of his time in Super Saiyan mode so he could get used to it. So logic would assume that Goku and Chi-Chi spent some quality time together
while he was in Super
and
Saiyan
banged
form.
as Super Saiyan, and maybe Vegeta did as well. And so because he was conceived while these two kids were conceived while their daddies were in Super Saiyan mode, that they were easily able to do it when they were born.
That makes sense. Now here's the real question.
That one has some substance behind it.
Here's the real question.
Okay.
Goku has had sex at least twice,
That's probably all.
right? But
And he probably had to like do something tremendous to get Chi-Chi to do it because she's so awful and cold.
right, but Goku is unfamiliar with the concept of kissing, as was explained in one episode. Do you remember that?
No.
No, where he was like, "What is this? What's a kiss?" Like he didn't even know what a kiss was. That's like
Is
a
this
grown
way back
man.
in Dragon Ball, like really early
No,
on?
no. This is Dragon Ball Super, I think.
That is so upsetting. Oh my god, Chi-Chi is the worst.
Yeah. Let me see.
Oh my gosh.
There was So there is a scene where Goku basically reveals that he doesn't know what he's never kissed anyone before.
Oh my god.
And this was, let me see if I can find this.
Well, there's also a theory that there's a theory somewhere on one of these websites that Goku and Chi-Chi have a romanceless marriage. I think that is 100% true.
So there's an episode of Dragon Ball Super in which Goku, who the hell is Goku?
That would be a typo.
Okay. Drops a bomb when he claims he's never kissed anyone ever before. This takes place after Trunks kisses his girlfriend Mai to save her life. So basically Goku's like...
That's that's back with Future Trunks.
Yeah. So...
I think I remember that actually.
So the question I have then is, he had to have had sex with her at least twice because they have two kids.
Mm-hmm. They obviously didn't kiss while they were having sex.
Okay. That's my question.
I mean, obviously not.
So is he just dropping trow, or like what's the, like, I don't understand that. I want to, like, what's happening here? Is it, and it's probably only for reproduction, I would imagine, knowing Chi-Chi.
I just wish Chi-Chi would like teach him. He's obviously a clueless, like, sane boy who does nothing.
Right.
Help him out, Chi-Chi. Like, show him some love.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What are you going to do?
All right, let's see. The next theory here, and this is maybe one of the last ones on the list. Oh, no, we don't know. We did that
We already did that one.
So now here's some fan theories that are apparently confirmed.
Oh.
You want to go through a couple of these?
Sure. Yeah, let's take a look.
Let's just go through them real quickly here. I don't want to spend too much time.
All right. First up, Frieza is naturally powerful. We do know that.
one's
Frieza
confirmed.
never trained a day in his life.
Here you go. Goku and Chi-Chi's marriage is romantically barren, with a really cool image of Goku and Chi-Chi sparring. I love this picture.
That's awesome.
This one's from Dragon Ball. So I'm just gonna skip the ones from Dragon Ball Super.
Okay.
Ki works like body armor.
Yeah, kind of. Right. That makes sense.
So, Dragon Ball Super's Resurrection of F and the Return of the Frieza arc added more to this when Goku gets taken down by a laser gun while he has no ki around him. So,
Interesting. Okay.
which implies that ki can be used as a barrier against attacks, but only when they're like paying attention,
Right.
basically. So
That makes sense. There's Saiyan hybrids are stronger than purebred Saiyan, so apparently, that's been all but confirmed in that all of the Saiyan hybrids are generally more powerful, at least at earlier ages. What else? Oh, the Android 16 is based on Dr. Giro's son. I think there is some truth to that. So
Akira Toriyama confirmed that Giro had a son in the Red Ribbon Army who died, and his son acted as 16's inspiration. So Akira Toriyama actually confirmed that himself, so that's why that one exists. That's more Dragon Ball Super. That one's Dragon Ball Super as well. That one's Dragon Ball Super. Pycon. Oh my god, I've totally forgot.
Pycon, I remember him.
Pycon. He was a badass.
Yeah.
He's a tough guy. I don't know. That one's not really. A lot of these are from Dragon Ball Super.
This one says that Super was born out of Toriyama's disappointment in what the franchise had become. So I guess he decided to ruin it further.
Wow. That's shocking, actually. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, most of these are super.
A lot of them.
Oh, the Patara earrings, the earrings they used to fuse, those are supposed to be permanent. Like once you fuse using those earrings, you can never unfuse. But apparently, they're only permanent for Kai because Goku's able to undo it.
Here's one. Goku was supposed to become the show's main character. Gohan was supposed to become the show's main character, which makes sense as the storyline progressed, because as Goku passed away after the Cell Saga, Gohan was supposed to become the new main character of the show. But I guess according to this, Toriyama gave in to like temptation and probably people picking at him from the outside, and decided that he would bring Goku back. So
I like this one. Goku is the bad guy in the Tournament of Power arc. I agree.
Because he's erasing all the other universes, but they wish them all back, I thought.
Yeah, but also it's just like Goku's attitude of just not... He doesn't like take responsibility when he should, and it allows things to happen that shouldn't happen. Like there are many times throughout Dragon Ball Z where people are gravely injured or put at insane risk because of Goku's like nature of not doing what needs to be done.
I actually want to write down a mark here. That was a pretty huge spoiler I just dropped.
Oh, ooh, how dare you?
Well, he's very selfish in Dragon Ball Super towards the end, especially because all he cares about is fighting the strongest thing, and at the risk of other people, in some ways.
Yeah.
So, I kind of get that.
Well, so this is one that backs up what you said earlier, that Akira Toriyama does not like Vegeta. So apparently he has stated that he is pretty indifferent to Vegeta, that he definitely likes Goku more, and yeah, that's. I think
it's pretty clear. He loses every fight he ever fights, pretty much, which kind of makes Vegeta an even more likable character, because you kind of want to sympathize with him, because it's like, oh well, Vegeta is a pretty cool character, but his own creator doesn't like him.
Dude, okay, this last one here is like actually kind of mind-blowing.
The very last one?
Yeah.
Okay.
The future Trunks timeline is, in fact, the main Dragon Ball timeline. And that's a fact, if you think about it. Like, Trunks came back in time and altered the timeline, but like the original timeline is the future Trunks timeline.
Go on.
That's the end of the sentence. Like, everything went a specific way to where the androids kind of like killed everyone and all that stuff. Then Trunks had to jump back in time and alter and create a new path for the flow of time to go. But like the original timeline is the one that leads down towards the history of Trunks.
I'm with you.
Yeah. So
yeah, I would like to see more of that other timeline.
Of Trunks timeline?
Yeah, of the destroyed future.
Sure. But that is like the OG timeline. Like that's how it originally went, and then he came back and altered it and created a new timeline.
Oh, the Super Bowl just started, and I just felt this huge rush of anxiety.
Oh God. Oh boy.
All right, let's go to a news break.
All right. So Mitz is gonna go practice his Lamaze breathing or whatever the hell they call it, since the Super Bowl started, and we're gonna take a news break. So before we go to a news break, we have another in-show weekly trivia question. And that is, which of the following is not a Studio Ghibli anime? The options are Only Yesterday, Ocean Waves, Future Boy Conan, Whisper of the Heart, or Tales from Earthsea. Let us know, and we'll tell you the answer after the break. Stick around.
Hey, all you anime addicts, Mitsugi's back one more time with more anime news. Leading us off, well, there has definitely been some child abuse scandals going on in Japan recently. A girl, 10-year-old Mia, died recently in her home in northeast Tokyo. Police arrested the 41-year-old father on suspicions of assaulting her. And it was definitely a scandal because it looks like the Board of Education had actually received a warning from the girl in the form of a questionnaire. The third grader wrote that she had been physically abused by her father and asked teachers to help her. However, the father intimidated the school board into handing over the letter and informing him of what she had written. So the officials at the Board of Education in Noda, Chiba Prefecture apologized for conducting an act that showed a, quote, extreme lack of consideration, saying that they yielded to her father's request due to his, quote, intimidating demeanor and that it made them frightened. So I pretty much read that right out of Japan Times. So if you want to read this story titled Chiba Education Board Admits It Shows Girl's Report of Abuse to Father Now Suspected of Fatal Assault, you can go read that again on Japan Times. It's a very heartbreaking story about something that happened in Japan. Next up, we have some fun news. It looks like director Masaaki Yuasa and his studio, Science Saru, has announced that they're going to be producing an anime spin-off of Shin-Chan that's going to be titled Super Shido, which is an anime that follows Shin-Chan's very normal dog, Shido, so in which he is actually a superhero who protects the world. It looks super cute, so if you are a fan of Shin-Chan or Masaaki Yuasa, you may want to go check out this new anime coming out about Shin-Chan's dog, Shido. And next up, we have a little something to catch you up on with the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo has revealed in their consolidated financial reporting that the Switch has sold 32.27 million units worldwide as of the end of the year 2018, which is a little more than they had previously reported or expected. Definitely a very fast-selling console and another big success for Nintendo, so I know many of you own Switches, and you should celebrate that this is probably a console that's going to be bringing you many great games for a long time. Rounding out the news this time, it looks like Gen Fukunaga, the founder, president, and CEO of Funimation Entertainment, is stepping down from his role as general manager and is going to be moving into a more chairman-like role. Fukunaga said in his memo that he's going to have continued oversight over the business, but he's going to be focusing on managing the relationships with his content partners for the company. So just some changing of the guard over there at Funimation. Probably not a whole lot changing in terms of its operations, but faces are moving around in different seats. This is Mitsugi, and this was your anime news break, and as always, it's time to get back to the podcast.
After a tough day at work, I just want to veg out on the internet. I wonder what kind of weird hentai goods JList.com has on sale.
Kazuo, what are you looking at?
Oh, well, this is embarrassing. It was JList.com.
What was that? Go back to it.
Oh, that was an anime boob mouse pad.
Really? Has it come to that, Kazuo?
Hell no, man. I'm keeping it real. But JList keeps it real, too. Real perverted. They've got hyper-realistic boob mouse pads, sexy pillows, naughty calendars and anime figures, and an array of Tenga products.
Did somebody say Tenga?
Good God. Where'd you come from?
That's right, my bald, mid-30-something anime grumpy pants man.
Damn, I love Tenga.
Has it come to that, Mitz?
Hell no, Enzo. I just love to feel the embrace of a Tenga egg when I stretch it over...
Whoa. Okay, now.
Over my bald head.
I think that's even weirder.
Head over to JList.com and get yourself set up with some of the finest Japanese adult products.
And now, great moments in Anime Addicts Anonymous history.
Do they make reverse kotatsus? A kotatsu that is cooling instead of heating. Just be like, I'm just gonna sit underneath here and chill my balls. You know?
That's called a refrigerator.
Oh, yeah. I don't
It's
know.
called a refrigerator.
Putting my balls in your refrigerator.
Just open your refrigerator, stick your leg up on like the countertop with your balls just like hanging free.
One day you're gonna walk into your kitchen and you're just gonna see my bare ass sticking out of your fridge.
Your 14-year-old daughter comes home with her friend from school, and Dad is just sitting in the kitchen with his hairy ass and his balls hanging down in front of the fridge. Like, Dad, not again!
No, he's sitting on the floor in the living room and he's brought the fridge with him and he's like laid it down on top of his body.
Just chilling
Come,
himself.
let's sit around the reverse kotatsu together, children.
Oh, Lord's in heaven.
That would be amazing.
Can there be a father-son edition where the
Yeah.
son is on a platform?
That's the advertisement.
And he's cooling his balls too
Yeah.
on in the freezer.
Right. Yes, exactly. And then you have the kid standing underneath.
So the dad's balls are hanging on top of the little kid.
They're not touching them.
It's kind of like an intimate tea bag.
Yeah, he's going
Teabag.
under the bridge.
And now, back to the podcast.
And we are back to the 58th episode?
That's right. 458.
458.
So much anxiety.
458. Mitz is freaking out because apparently there's a sports game on.
I'm here though.
The annual New England Super Bowl game.
Pretty much. I mean, it has been like that, but I'm actually thankful I'm here because the anxiety would be a lot worse if I was actually watching it.
Yeah. How are they doing so far?
It's 0-0.
Oh, okay.
Game just started pretty much.
So before we went on our news break, we had an in-show weekly trivia question.
That's right. This one was tricky. I made it intentionally tricky.
Ah, yes. Would you mind reading that for us then?
Yeah. Which of the following is not a Studio Ghibli anime? Only Yesterday, Ocean Waves, Future Boy Conan, Whisper of the Heart, or Tales from Earthsea? And the answer is Future Boy Conan.
Yes.
Because it actually came out prior to Ghibli being a studio.
As did
Nausicaa.
Yep.
They're both older than older than Ghibli, and they're both great.
Yeah.
Really great.
No, absolutely.
But Future Boy Conan is 1978, and I don't think Ghibli was founded until a few years later.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Well, before we get into our impressions, before we tell you what we think about other people's work,
that's right.
we're going to tell you what other people think about our work with a 5-star review.
It's time for iTunes review.
So, of course, you can always head on over to iTunes, leave us a 5-star review, and we will read it on the show, just like Stingy Ginger did. They wrote in, they said, love the anime info. I'm probably part of the small percentage of people who listen to this podcast under the age of 20. Oh, it's a baby.
You're not wrong about that.
It's a little baby. That being said, I'm 18 years old, and I have been listening to you guys nonstop while at work every day for the past week.
Oh,
it's
good.
awesome hearing you guys discuss your viewpoints on my favorite anime. Much love towards you guys, and keep feeding this anime addiction. You know what, Stingy Ginger? We will do just that. And thank you so much for listening and for being the future of anime.
I hope that your workday is a little less painful.
One day, when Mitsugi and I are in an old people home,
That day's like tomorrow.
we're going to call you Stingy Ginger. We're going to need you to step up as the future generation.
It feels like tomorrow will be that day. My knees hurt. My back
could be
hurts.
in about 45 minutes. We're going to be in an old people home.
Nah, it's Shred City, baby.
That's right.
Shred City.
We're on the way to Shred City. I'm
That's
over here.
right. Well,
I'm over here eating my rice and chicken and stuff.
I am hoarding my macros like a caged animal.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you for the 5-star review, though.
Yes.
We love getting them. We're really close to 500 reviews now.
Amazing.
So, one of you is going to be the 500th review. So, have fun. It's
Hopefully it happens before our 500th episode.
it would be stunning if it didn't happen,
Yeah.
considering the 500th episode is almost a year from now.
True. All right, so we appreciate you telling us what you think about us. Now let's tell you what we think about some anime. It is time for impressions. Today, we're going to be doing impressions.
Impression time, believe it!
Ah, yes. So we are continuing our journey of impressions for the winter 2019 anime season. It's just Mitz and I, so we're going to have to power through quite a few
Knocking off quite a few of these babies.
of what we have left. I'm going to be doing impressions. I'll start off with a show called, well, it has a couple different names. One is Mysteria Friends, but I believe for whatever reason, it's also known as Mysteria Friends.
Is it, Mananaria or
Yeah.
what the hell was that?
I don't know. I don't know what that means.
Okay.
So this is a spin-off of a show that I really enjoy.
I like what you... we have this document
Yes.
where we write where we write how many episodes of each show we've watched.
Right.
And we write what the current score is.
Yes.
And we use this document to decide what the best 8 shows are because the shows that have the top 8 shows by score.
So we'll put
get
like
picked.
watched 3 episodes, score 4. So that way we know how many we've seen and what the scores are and
And I will tell you after Kazuo's impression
what I
what
put
he
in
wrote.
there. Okay.
Because I like it very much.
Yeah. So this is a spin-off of a series, Rage of Bahamut or Shingeki no Bahamut. Shingeki no Bahamut Genesis was the original series that came out a few years back, which I absolutely love. Awesome show.
Super awesome.
The sequel to that was Shingeki no Bahamut Virgin Soul, which was pretty good. Not as good as the original, but still fun, and I enjoyed it. So this is just a spin-off. No real relation to that other than I guess it takes place in like the same world. It is I'll just read you. It's a couple sentences for the synopsis here on my anime list. Mysteria Academy is a prestigious magic school that teaches magic without discrimination to the 3 factions, men, gods, and demons, who usually are engaged in battle with each other. 2 of the academy students are Anne, a princess and honor student, and Greya, a princess born from a dragon and a human. So, it's and I guess I'll tell you some of the housekeeping bits. It's studio is Psy Games Pictures, who I believe also worked on.
Have they made?
No, they haven't worked on anything else. They worked on one thing, Blade Runner.
Psy Games made their own studio.
There was
That's not that surprising. They make a ton of money.
Yeah, so Psy Games is the company that makes all of the Rage of Bahamut games and everything.
Yeah, prior to that, though, I think Mappa made it.
Yeah.
They've asked
So Psy
Mappa.
Games has made one other anime, which is a Blade Runner ONA that came out a year or so ago. And it's difficult to say. It's difficult to give much information about this show because I'm going to be straight up. Nothing happens in this show.
Nothing, you say?
Each episode is 15 minutes long, and they are, I would say, out of that 15 minutes, 14 minutes and 59 seconds is absolutely nothing. There's like 1 second of anything worthwhile. No, that's not true.
That's
wow. They're about 15 minutes too long.
You would have to really try hard to do that.
Yeah, no, so this show it takes place in some kind of magical school. There's 2 main characters, as I mentioned in the synopsis. One's a dragon-born girl, and the other's just a regular human-looking girl. And they're very cute. Actually, the human, I would say, is cute. The dragon, I would say, is hot, because they often... And you looked this up, Mitz. You might like this.
Baby.
And... because they always show her, she's got big old boobs and stuff, and like they're always showing her like in very provocative situations.
Mysteria Friends Dragon Girl?
Yeah, her name is Greya, Grea, I believe.
Greya. This chick right here?
Yes.
Okay, let me have a look.
So the show is basically just 2 cute girls being cute. And it looks pretty. Like it's, they're well animated, I suppose. The art style is nice.
100% yes.
Oh, yeah, you're with this girl?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Although her tail is so big that...
They comment on that in the show.
Her tail is very thick at its base where it would connect to her body, which really makes me want to see like how it physically connects to her.
Right.
Because it is about as thick as her torso.
Yes. So this is actually commented on in one of the episodes where she's freaking out because she's like, my tail has gotten fat.
Whereas a cat's tail is very thin, or like a lion's tail is very thin, so it fits well in proportion to her body.
Her tail looks as if it's her entire butt. It's like it's just like connected to the entire lower backside.
Her whole butt is her tail. Well, she must have no ass.
Yeah.
How does she go to the bathroom?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
That's how do snakes go to the bathroom?
How do starfish
I have no clue.
or octopuses?
Octopi?
Octopi.
Well, anyways, so yeah, God, there's just nothing. There's nothing going on in this show. Like if you just wanted to see cute girls, then cool. This has that. I mean, like I could tell you what happens in the episodes, but it's not even worthwhile. Like episode 1 is literally they, I guess, meet each other or something, and they have lunch together. And then like in another episode, the dragon girl is sick in bed, and of course she's not wearing anything because as you do when you're sick, they strip you down butt naked. And so you just see her moaning naked in bed because
so it's fan service?
Oh, 1,000%. And then like in another episode, she's freaking out because her tail has gotten bigger because she shed her tail skin, and it's fatter, and so now she's like upset that she's gaining weight and stuff. And so you see her working out provocatively and like in a sauna trying to like sweat off the weight.
Dude, I am so
and like
in.
jerk off her tail.
What?
Literally there's a scene where it's like, okay, this is definitely a phallic representation.
Oh man.
It's
sweaty dragon girl in a sauna?
So if that so hey, if that's all you want to see, have at it, dude. I'm sure the like I
don't think I've ever been this excited. You're excited.
Just kidding.
Yeah, so but there's no content here. There's no story, there's no depth, there's nothing interesting, and it really upsets me because I love the world of Rage of Bahamut, but this is just nonsense. I mean,
the second season of Rage of Bahamut wasn't as good as the first one either.
No, but it was still pretty good.
It was okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm feeling this hard. If it sounds like something you're interested in, have at it. But I don't have the mental capacity to sit through more of this.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
So
No! No!
I always forget how long that drop is. So Icy Rose does correct me a bit here. So the episode where she's sick and the episode where she thinks she's getting fat are the same episode. The third episode is when they go and get cosplay outfits.
Oh, naturally, okay.
Right.
So that makes it
so
all
you
better.
get to see them changing and stuff.
Kazuo wrote, "Can I give this a negative score?"
Yeah.
On the doc.
And then in the number of episodes watched, I put 3 too many.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to do an impression here. My shows this season have been... I'm going to be honest. With the exception of one of them, they are all very on the bubble.
Okay.
Which makes my job a little difficult.
Sure.
Because they're all I have reasons why I want to pass each of them, and then reasons why I think they all fall short, which makes things hard. So I'm going to start off with Boogiepop Phantom, I guess. So
excuse me?
Sorry, Boogiepop and others.
Okay.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
It's very clear on the document that, yes, I need to keep that straight. There was a Boogiepop Phantom show that came out years ago.
I'm going to eat my rice while you're doing this.
Which most people probably think of when they hear the word Boogiepop, but they are not the same. Which is good because when I watched the original Boogiepop Phantom a long time ago, I didn't understand a damn thing that they were talking about because it's very convoluted. I'm happy to say the Boogiepop and others, way less convoluted than the other series. So this show is done by Studio Madhouse, whom we all know.
Madhouse! It's Charlton Heston, man. Nobody ever gets that reference.
No, I don't get it.
It's Charlton Heston, I think in Planet of the Apes. It's a madhouse! Madhouse!
Planet of the Apes is not a... Man, I have a headache. Interesting. Must be all the stress from this football game.
That's possible.
All right, so it's done by Studio Madhouse, and this is a franchise that's pretty beloved. Like it's got a lot of source material behind it that people really like, and it has interesting premises that it brings to the table, and they're very science fiction-y, I think is how I would probably describe it the best. But there's a lot of psychological horror involved in this Boogiepop as well. So the first 3 episodes of this series is very sort of convenient because it ties up a single story, more or less. And I did watch the 4th episode because I was so on the fence about this series that I wanted to watch another episode to kind of see if it would, to see if it could give me more guidance in watching it. And what happens is that rather than giving the entire like sequential events of the first 3 episodes as they go, I am going to more or less. Did you seriously just pull up this clip?
Oh, hold on.
That has no audio.
Hold on.
You have it crossed out. Yes.
Oops.
It's a madhouse! A madhouse!
Ridiculous. Okay.
The original Planet of
Thank
the
you for
Apes.
that.
No problem.
That's not a bad drop, actually.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you just what the story is of the first 3 episodes.
Okay.
So if as I remember, because I watched this while I was taking my cat to the vet, basically a being comes to Earth that is sent to Earth to judge the character of humanity. Is how I believe it is spoken in the show.
Okay.
And as I remember it, there is an organization that captures this being and is doing experiments upon it. It's how I remember it. In doing so, a clone of this original being is created. And this clone is pretty much a failure of a science project. And the clone escapes from the science facility. And the clone is referred to as a manticore. And I believe it is called that because...
Isn't that a creature in D&D?
It's a creature in a lot of mythology, and I believe that the reason why it is given such a name is as is explained very briefly in this first 3 episodes, is because a manticore, I believe, as I recall, is a being that consumes humans or consumes other beings to survive, like a man-eater, basically. And this manticore is just doing what it does. Like, it eats things, it eats people, and it sort of enlists, and when it eats you, it can take your form. Because it's based on an alien, okay?
Okay.
And in doing all this, the man-eater takes the shape of a very attractive girl and gets...
Whoa, here she comes.
She's a man...
Look out now.
She's a man-eater.
Chew you up.
Okay.
Whoa, here she comes. She's a man-eater.
I don't know that song so well. But I appreciate that you... Yeah.
That's what I'm here for, to give you
I
really
gotcha.
old references.
A kid from a school decides to help this man-eater manticore. And I can't really recall a great motivation behind the kid, except that he's a little twisted. And in doing so, he does things like getting girls to want to go on dates with him so he can drug them on the dates. By the way, Boogiepop and others is very adult. So he basically date rapes girls, takes their unconscious bodies to where the manticore is, and
feeds them.
Lets the manticore eat them. But in cases in the show, the manticore actually has put like a poison inside of some of these female characters that will like disseminate this poison throughout like the human population, or it's like a pheromone through like their eyes or something. So like in infecting the girl, she will walk around in the day and unknowingly transmit this pheromone to other people. You with me?
Yeah. Okay.
Now in the middle of all of this, there is a character named Boogiepop that is described as the split personality of one of the other characters in the show, and that Boogiepop is like, I don't even know how to describe it other than it's almost like a superhero. Because it jumps in, it can do things that most characters cannot. It can use like very thin like wires to attack, and it basically comes in and saves the day at the end of the 3rd episode because it kills the manticore and everyone's happy. And the original alien, who's still tagging along with the group at that point, goes back to space. He kind of like disappears into a ball of light and flies back up into outer space, and the Earth continues to exist. In which case, I believe that it is judged that he has judged humankind positively, because there's other characters in the show that up until that point that have shown a lot of kindness and have helped him out a lot.
Okay.
So that's the first 3 episodes of Boogiepop. Now, what I'll say about the show is that it is not your typical anime cup of tea. And when I say that in the sense that it's very darkly colored. It's not your brightly lit anime character with characters that are bubbly and full of life and excitement. And the color palette is very gray, black, brown-ish. And it's also like a psychological horror show, and the anime itself is not going to be a show that a lot of people, I feel like, will gravitate towards. And I'm really on the fence about it. And I know that it's going to have other like little short stories that are going to be told that will all probably that seem like they're all going to mostly contain the main Boogiepop character, but I have yet to see, these stories unfold, obviously, so I can't say for certain. Now, I'm really on the fence about this anime.
It's got an 8.4 on my anime list.
No, that's the original.
Oh, that is the original. My bad. This one has a 7.1.
Yeah, it's not... It's also very slow. The show is very slow, but it is interesting. Oh, my God. I almost, need more time to think about it.
Okay.
Ask me a question.
How are the Patriots doing?
The score is still 0-0.
0-0.
Which I think is something that would have surprised most people.
What is going on here? I heard the last time that the Patriots and the Rams played each other
It was like 17 years ago.
The Rams were from St. Louis, and nobody in New England knew who the Patriots were.
Well, and they won that Super Bowl. I am going to stick with what I originally was planning on doing. Because that was the judgment that I made.
Stick to the script.
That was a judgment that I had made upon finishing the impression, the span of the impression the first time, and that decision was to not pass Boogiepop and Others. And the reason why I did that was because I felt like the show was extremely slow, and while the story did end up being coherent in a way that the prior Boogiepop series was not, I didn't particularly find it all that enjoyable, and after watching the 4th episode, which started sort of a new story, it continued the same tone and sort of pace as the prior 3 episodes. That being said, it's not a bad anime, and if you want a psychological horror anime that seems to have some sci-fi, you may want to watch it, but honestly, I don't think it's the cup of tea for most people, and I just don't know if it just... I don't know. It's very difficult for me. This was a tough one, but I'm going to fail this.
I'm too old for this shit.
Opie, I think I'm getting too old for this stuff.
I'm too old for this shit.
I'm too old for this shit. I'm too old for this shit. Will you follow me again?
I'm getting
too old for this shit.
It hurts me a little to do that because I am a little sentimental about Boogiepop from my childhood. But the speed and tone of the anime just wasn't enjoyable to watch, I would say.
Is it a requirement to have watched the original Boogiepop?
No, definitely not.
Okay, interesting. So, yeah, all right. Well, I will be doing another impression here on a show that may surprise some people that I picked. And that is Tate no Yuhusha no Nariyagari, which means our English title is The Rising of the Shield Hero.
That, I believe, is actually not a bad translation for once, but it also sounds good in English.
Right, yeah,
so
The Rising of the Shield Hero.
Let's just keep it. It's all marketing.
So this show is an isekai, and often I would say I've not been the biggest fan of isekai.
They've been doing well lately.
Although there are several isekai that I really enjoy, like the Reincarnated Slime anime. I really enjoy. I haven't watched all of it yet, I just watched it for impressions, and that was a lot of fun. There are some older isekai that I really enjoy, like Log Horizon was a really good show. So, Inuyasha, that was an isekai. So the genre itself is not necessarily something I'm not a fan of, although I will say I've grown tired of a lot of it because it's just the same thing over and over again.
I'm going to step out and take a leave.
Okay. Mitz is falling apart, man. He can't handle the pressure. It's too much. So, Rising of the Shield Hero, I'll just give you a quick synopsis. It says here, it's a bit of a lengthy one, so bear with me. Stories of old tell of 4 otherworldly heroes wielding the sword, the spear, the bow, and the shield, who defended the land from wave after wave of calamity. With the fate of the world in balance, the kingdom of Melromark summons these legendary figures. In modern-day Japan, the call is answered, and the unwitting heroes are transported to this fantasy universe. I won't read the rest of this, but ultimately, the
That's really long, by the way. That's not.
Yeah, there's way too much to read there, but that gives you the gist. So this fantasy world is dealing with these calamities, which is like a bunch of demonic creatures invading their world, and they're coming in waves. So every predetermined period of time, a new wave will come, and then a new wave, and so forth. So they have the first wave hit. They're able to fend it off, and knowing that another wave is inevitable, they summon the 4 heroes of lore from our world: sword, spear, bow, and shield. The shield hero is your main character in this, and a lot of the show is, or at least early on, like in the first episode, is them kind of making fun of him because it's like, what are you going to do with a shield? You know, it's like, this guy's got a sword and a spear and a bow and all this stuff, and you can't even attack.
I guess you never heard of Captain America.
Yeah, right? That's what I'm saying. Represent. America, USA.
Shields are awesome, and they look cool.
Yeah. So he's kind of a shut-in otaku type character, as is typical in every isekai ever.
Why is that?
It's a fantasy thing.
But it's
literally
cliche.
The entire concept, which is why it frustrates me so much, is because it's pandering. It's all pandering to us.
I feel like a lot of the anime is pandering.
Yeah. It's like, these shut-in nerds, let's give them some fantasy that they can think that they are the hero and they're going to get all the girls. And I don't like that. It's annoying to me because it's like, hey, man, I'm a shut-in nerd. How dare you? But I guess it sells, so whatever. And it's so funny, like in this show, literally within the first like 3 minutes, he's transported into another world.
Well, of course.
So it's like they don't even set his character up.
Does he get hit by a truck or something? So they always have some like
I forget
vessel to take them.
Him. I think he just got like sucked into this game or something. I don't recall.
He wasn't like cooking a burrito in his microwave and the microwave sucked him in.
Yeah,
or something.
But it's so inconsequential. Like it doesn't matter.
Okay, yeah.
Like it's literally
it never does.
It's just to get his character in the world. Like they don't tell you really much of anything about him. There's no setup. It's just like boom, you're in this world. Figure it out. And and so he shows up along with these other heroes, and all the other heroes are dicks. Like right off the bat. They're like, immediately they're like asking, well, what's in it for me, and all this other stuff, and he's the only one that seems to genuinely. Oh, he got sucked into a book. Thank you, Icy Rose. Man, he's so good at this. I feel like he should be a host instead of me. No, he got sucked into a book. I forgot that because he's a big fan of like light novels. He reads a shitload of light novels and stuff. So all the other heroes are just major assholes, and he's the only one that's.
What about minor assholes?
No, there's none of those yet. But so the king summons them. They go to meet with the king, and then they're basically like, "Oh, we're going to give you your own group of people that are gonna like be your squad that you roll with. Like the heroes aren't rolling with each other because of some random reason. Like they can't be around each other. I guess when they're training, I forget exactly why. It's totally unimportant. So instead, they give them a group to like roll with them, and to a questing party, and the king allows the people to volunteer for whichever hero they want to join, and so they do so, and everyone joins everyone else except for the shield hero. Nobody wants to be on his team, except for one girl who is like a smoke show, like a super hot girl.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so she joins him, and this is mild spoil. This is spoilers for like the first 2 episodes, really, or really like the first episode.
You can't really spoil the first episodes.
So she joins him, and turns out like double crosses him, and frames him, like says that he like tried to assault her sexually at night, and she joins another one of the guys' teams. I think the spear guy's team, and like steals the main character's money and goes with him and stuff. For no real reason. Like there isn't a real, like, okay, she got his money, but he didn't even have that much money to begin with. Like he had already spent a lot of it. And so I don't know entirely why she did it.
Is this why there was the big controversy over this anime?
Was there?
You're not aware of a controversy?
Over Shield Hero? No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Well, I guess we don't need to talk about it.
Oh.
There is one. But
oh. Well, I mean, she does frame him for sexual assault.
It has to do with him having a slave girl or something.
Oh, there's that too. So, okay, well, I'll get to that. So she frames him, and the king is like, we would normally put you to death, because, quote, it's a matriarchy, even though the king is the one in charge, which by definition makes it a patriarchy. I feel like whoever wrote the show maybe didn't Google definitions of words, but that's fine. Whatever. So they're like, normally we would put you to death, but because you're a shield hero and we need you, you're just basically like, everyone knows what you did, even though he didn't do anything. Everyone's going to, so you're just going to be treated like crap now because of that. And nobody wants to be on your team. So he's going and he's grinding and he's trying to level up in order to face the oncoming wave of enemies. But he's out there leveling up by himself, and he has no party, and he has no real attack ability. So he's just like fighting low level like slime type monsters, or they're balloon monsters really, and doing horribly.
Balloons.
Eventually, he like gathers enough money by selling these like the remains of these balloon monsters to where he can like buy a slave.
It's so pathetic.
I know. And so he goes to like this really shady dude who like shows him all these slaves and monsters and whatnot. And there's this little girl who is like sickly and just miserable. And so he's like, I'll buy her. So he buys her, and then he starts to like train her.
Is he bad to her?
No, he's not at all. No, he's
Okay.
he's a good dude. Like, I mean, he's, seemingly at this point at least. And so he like, feeds her and gets her medicine and teaches her how to fight with a sword and stuff, and kind of like raises her.
I don't understand why there's a controversy then.
I mean, because she's a slave.
Like, would you rather her be sold to like an abusive person?
Yeah, I mean,
is that what we're like? He gives her medicine and takes care of her. Like, that sounds like a good thing,
right?
I get that she's a slave, but
yeah, I don't. And then her character goes through a change. I think in episode 3, because there's like a bit of a time leap there.
Okay.
And I guess she grows like faster than most others, because at first when he gets her, she's a little kid, and then she becomes like a teenager or whatever. And
because it's in a video game.
Well, she's not like a human. She's a what do they call her? Like a demi-human or something like that.
Okay.
And so Peter Wright in the chat says that Shield Hero is also abusive, that he's abusive of the girl.
He is? I haven't seen any of it, so.
I'm trying to think about times when he's been abusive. Oh, he forces the girl to fight for him, or else he will leave her. Okay. That makes sense. I totally get that. I guess I didn't really put that together, but yeah, I mean, he's having her fight for him. That's why he like bought her, was to fight in his party.
Like, there's a bunch of video games in real life,
yeah.
And I'm not going to say anything else about this because it's like, it doesn't seem like a very heavy controversy.
Mm-hmm.
But like, when you're in a video game and you like hire a mercenary to fight for you,
yeah,
in virtually like half of all RPGs, that is what he did.
Kind of. I mean,
it's like, I'm gonna buy this person to fight for me.
Yeah, I guess, but she wouldn't really have a choice in the matter, I guess, is what the point is that they're making there, is that like she didn't have a choice. Like, she was a slave and he bought her and then forced her to fight. Which I guess, I get. That makes sense. That is kind of fucked up.
I guess they could have just like had him find a girl that was like, I want to fight with you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that is a little weird. I didn't even really think about that until it was mentioned, but yeah, that makes sense. That is kind of fucked up. But he does raise her and takes care of her, and she becomes kind of a badass, like a real badass, after a while.
I'm sure that the alternative fate that awaited her was far worse.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
like you're better. Whatever. I'm not saying anymore.
I don't know. It's
just not worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's unfortunate. I get. So what else are they supposed to do? I guess
I don't know. It's just. I get it. It's just not worth like getting into.
I guess just don't have a slave at all in this show. I guess that would make sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess that didn't really affect me because I didn't really pay much attention to it. But I guess that maybe I should have.
Yeah.
But people might be sensitive to that, which is totally understandable.
I get it.
So she becomes like a badass sword fighter over time, and then the second wave comes, and they fight off all of these like demon monster creatures. And that's kind of where you're left off after the third episode.
I think it sounds cool.
With the impending third wave coming and them trying to become more powerful in preparation for it.
I love it. They're preparing for like waves of incoming enemies.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So
that's juicy.
Yeah. I totally get why people would be upset by this show.
Yeah, but
like, it's... Yeah,
I'm not gonna say anything.
And I can't. That's totally, you're able to feel however you feel about things.
Yeah,
I think it serves the story maybe the hero isn't a quote hero. Like he's kind of a fucked up character too. So like that's another thing too, is like stories don't have to be about righteous people. Like there are plenty of really good stories that are about flawed characters who do messed up things. So, that's kind of where I stand.
It sounds like this is a character that did something he needed to do to survive and treated the girl far better than like the probably like sex slave worker that would have.
Yeah, and ultimately he's not. And ultimately he's not supposed to be righteous. Like he's not necessarily a really good guy. Like he's messed up. So, like you don't have to praise him. We're not praising him for his acts. Like that would be like watching, I don't know, like reading a book about any person that was flawed in history, and like they did things that weren't right. Like that's human nature.
All right, well, we got to wrap this one up.
Anywho, the point is the show itself, I feel like, is surprisingly entertaining for me, and I did enjoy watching it. The action sequences are really cool. And I like the simplicity of building up for the next wave and so forth. And I'm curious to see what they do with the characters in it. So I will be passing Shield Hero.
Yes! Yes! Oh, yeah! Can you feel that, buddy? Huh?
All right. So I am going to be doing a show called The Price of Smiles, which is an anime done by Tatsunoko Productions, directed by Toshimasa Suzuki, who has directed Rin no Lagrange. I cannot pronounce that. He directed Heroic Age, Sokyu no Fafner. So it's interesting. This guy's got like a lot of credits. He has some credits in the anime industry, and they're almost all directorial credits. So it's as if he came in, like, skipped animation and all that and just jumped right to, like, directing.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Like, the lowest level credit he has is pretty much, like episode director. He did 1 episode directing, 1 assistant director, and then everything else is just director. So I don't know who this guy is. But anyway, so Price of Smiles is a show about a fictional kingdom that has a young girl at the head of the kingdom. And this young girl is she's a princess. And what happens is, like, it starts off with her doing, like, her inductee ceremony. So she's, like, learning her speech or whatever and how to, get people in the crowd all excited for this new era of leadership. And she's really, like, she's like 12 years old. Her name's Yuki, which means, like, I don't even remember what that means. Princess Yuki. She's 12 years old, and she's, like, really happy and wants people to be happy, and she just wants to make, like, the right choices and make people in her kingdom, for lack of a better word, happy, I would say. Meanwhile, there's a war going on between her and another, like, governmental group. It's, like, the Empire or something. I can't remember the exact name of it. And she is completely ignorant of the fact that this, like, conflict is even occurring at all, which is really unlikely, I feel like. That, like, a ruler could be completely unaware of something happening, but she is 12, and maybe there's corruption in the leadership that is, keeping things from her as a leader. But there's a lot of, like, mech battles happening between these two groups, and a lot of people are being killed. And there's a lot of talk in the show about, like, the struggles of military type things, like we don't have enough food to feed the army. People are starving. We have to cut their supply lines. We have to do this and that. In the second and third episodes of the show, a group of fighters from the Empire or whatever country is not with the princess. I can't remember exactly how they refer to it. They are infiltrating this nation they're infiltrating the princess's nation because they have, like, a new type of mecha that is being used to power, like, plants that are used to create lots of food. And they're talking about how, like, if this new mecha's energy is able to generate lots of food for this country, that could turn the tide of war against us because we are, we don't have this kind of food, and having a very well-fed enemy is bad. So what they do is they infiltrate the country, like in the secret mission, and they meet a lot of, like, children and, like, people that are just innocent civilians, and there's a lot of, like, emotional ties created between the soldiers and these, like, children that they find while they're carrying out this mission. And ultimately what they're told to do is they have to infiltrate this power plant, steal this technology that's being used to create the energy that can, do lots of great things, and destroy the facility. So it's kind of like this secret mission that's going on. Meanwhile, the leader of the group decides he's actually going to disobey orders and split off from the group so he can get the children that happen to live right next to this power plant the hell away from it, because he knows that if they carry out the mission without warning them, most of them will be killed because they're going to get blown up and killed. So, and then there's some very emotional scenes towards the end of the third episode where the children, they all realize that these people that they met are actually enemies, and they're all crying give me back my parents, you killed my mother, stuff like that. Very heavy. There's a scene as the third episode wraps up of one of the main girls and that I guess they're enemies, that enemy group, eating a candy that she had got previously from one of the little girls for being her friend, and it's very she's very affected by the fact that she had to see the children, how the war is affecting them. And it kind of makes her second guess, I feel the actions that she's been doing as a soldier, even though prior to that she was more than happy to carry out her duties as a soldier. So the second and third episodes I thought they were pretty good. I enjoyed them. It was a very concise sort of military mission that had a lot of human elements built into it. The mecha looked decent. There are some pretty good mecha fights in it. They go down easily. I love the fact that the mecha go down easily. If they take 10 rounds to the chest with with the other mech's huge machine gun, that mech unit goes down. It isn't it's not Gurren Lagann where they're throwing a planet.
Right.
It's a little more...
It's more real robot.
It's more real robot, although they're clearly very high tech. It's kind of almost in the middle. They're way more high tech than conveyor belts and gears and oil engines and shit. But they're not so powerful that they can do incredible things.
Okay.
So they're almost Zone of the Enders level mechas, I think. Maybe probably a little bit weaker than that. I don't think a lot of people really are paying much attention to this show. I've heard almost no one talking about it personally. But I actually rather enjoyed the first 3 episodes. I think that the show may end up being a little predictable. I can kind of see everyone becoming happy friends at the end of this. I mean, that's kind of the... But then again, I could see it. It is called The Price of Smiles. So maybe some bad shit's going to happen. I rather thought it was pretty good. The first episode was, maybe a 3. And then I felt after the third episode it had risen maybe to a 4 for me.
Oh, wow.
Just because I liked the simplicity of the story for once. It's not convoluted. It's not an isekai story where I'm gonna have to suspend tons of disbelief.
Yeah, I feel we don't get a lot of mech shows.
And it's the only the only mech show of the whole season.
Yeah.
So I like not having to pretend things are gonna be possible all the time. This show what happened in the first 3 episodes came off to me as very simple, which I enjoyed the simplicity of that. So I'm gonna pass this show. I don't feel that many people are really interested in it, but I feel it's like I said, most of my shows are. I could probably have failed all of these, all 5 of them, but I feel I should take one of them, and I feel this is the best out of the 5 shows I have. So I'm gonna pass this show.
All right.
Oh, wait. Oh, and boom goes the dynamite.
All right.
Alrighty, last one. Lasto. The last one for the day is a show that goes by the name of Gotobun no Hanoyome.
Wow, that's definitely not the same.
Nope.
Maybe a spoiler.
Not really, because they show you him getting married to one of them in the very first episode. So, this show is brought to you by Tezuka Productions. For those unfamiliar with Tezuka Productions, they are
how's that possible?
Old as shit and have created such works.
As shit.
Created such works as Blackjack and Astro Boy and all the other Blackjack and Astro Boy stuff that has been in existence since the 60s. So yeah, and they also worked on, they've worked on a ton of stuff. It's just a ton. This is certainly one of the more popular shows that they've had in recent history. And it is about, here, I'll read you the synopsis as I do. It's a high school romantic comedy with 5, okay, this is dumb. I'm not going to read this. It's a high school romantic comedy that involves a boy who is very scholarly. He does really well in school. He gets straight A's, very smart. Turns out that all 5 of them are sisters. They're all quintuplets. And he is supposed to help them not suck so bad at school. The girls is really into Japanese historical figures and knows them like the back of her hand.
Okay, that's, I mean, okay.
Because she played a game with like one of those games with like cute boys that are all like historical figures.
Yeah, there's like 100 of those.
Yeah, so she's big into that, and so she knows a lot about all these Japanese historical figures, but she doesn't know anything else. Like super dumb. They all get like 2s on their quizzes, like 2%.
So they're all dumb.
Yeah, but
all of them.
Oh yeah.
Well, they're all quintuplets, so they should.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know much about twins.
But what they realize is that when he gives them a test, that they all get the same. Like if somebody got a question wrong, another one got that same question right. So together, they know everything. They know everything.
No, if they all got a 2%.
That was an exexaggeration.
Then they would get a 10%, which is still terrible.
Yeah, that was an exaggeration.
Okay.
But yeah, they know what the others don't know, and so they, maybe if we work together, you guys cannot be so dumb.
It's a very romantic thought.
Is it?
Yeah,
I guess.
It's unrealistic, but it's romantic.
Yeah. So in the first episode, you see him in the future being married to one of the sisters, and then it's kind of like flashback on like this is how we all met and stuff like that. This show is it's a thing.
It's got to be a harem show, right?
It's a kind of, but not. I mean,
it's 5 girls and 1 boy.
Yeah, but not a lot happens. Like you certainly see the girl. Like there's definitely he falls down on top of them, and he walks in on the girl naked.
What I heard from another podcast is that the show's basically about which one of them he's going to marry.
Right, but you already know because in the first episode you see him getting married to the redhead.
Oh, then what the hell's the point?
I don't know.
Okay, I mean they're gonna give it like I could see it being like sort of fun for people to try to figure out like which girl is he gonna marry, like, and you try to figure it out as you go along. Like, oh, they're vying for his attention. Oh, now she's in the front. Now she's in front. But if they're gonna tell you right off the bat,
yeah, no. In the first episode, you see him marrying the redheaded, and now because they all look exactly the same except they have different hair color. So unless there's like a plot twist at the end where one of them dyes their hair, and it turns out that's the bride. It's this show. It's why
this was not the show for you to get.
This is not the show for me to get. It's not terrible. I will say that. It's oh Jesus, what was that?
My finger touching the soundboard.
How dare you? The show is not terrible. It's just boring. Like I get like the jokes are repetitive and there's just not much to them. The girls are cute.
Repetitive comedy is tough to deal with because it stops being funny.
The girls are cute and they all have their own individual personalities, but all of their personalities are just, tropes that you see in anime.
Yeah, they all look pretty similar.
Well, they're all identical except for their hair is different. So
it's anime, so that's mostly the case.
Yeah, you have a girl with red hair, a girl with orange hair, a girl with pink hair, and a girl with like, I don't know.
It's red, pink, and orange.
Yeah, and then like brown. There's a brown-haired girl as well. That one in the middle.
I mean,
she's the shy one.
It's sort of brown. Okay.
Yeah. That is the Genki one. That is
I get it.
Lazy but sexy one. This one.
Fail it and let's move on.
This one is the angry one. And this one, I don't remember what she is.
The big-titted one.
Sure. No, they all have the same tits.
Can I play the drop?
If you just want cute girls, then this is the show for you. But if you want anything more than that, look elsewhere.
Did they live happily ever after?
Of course, Elizabeth.
What a pile of shit.
So we have passed Price of Smiles and Shield Hero.
Yes.
Price of Smiles probably not one that people expected.
That I'm very interested to see that show. That sounds like might be something people are missing out on.
It's time for an almighty anime mailbag. Anime.
Mailbag. I kind of did that one with my pecs, sort of.
Kind of, yeah, a little bit.
Peck popping, sort of.
So, of course, if you would like to leave us a mailbag, head on over to the website.
Yeah.
AAAPodcast.com. Click on the mailbag button. Just like Scroll. And Moral did.
Oh, I probably should say that based on the poll that Icy Rose put on the document last week, no one picked Price of Smiles to pass, and Shield Hero was number 2.
Nice. Okay, sweet.
So we have now passed all 3 of their top picks. The 4th one is obvious because I'm not going to say what it is, but it's obvious.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest are probably like fringe. Oh, and I failed one of the ones that was on the list.
Boogiepop and others.
Yeah, it was at the bottom, so not very many people.
Okay.
I guess not too many people will be heartbroken.
Nah.
I love these statistics though. Icy Rose is great.
Yes, thank you so much, Icy Rose. Ice, baby. N Moral writes in. I'm assuming I'm pronouncing that correctly. It says here, if you had to cure someone from anime addiction by forcibly making them watch a selection of 3 shows, what would they be? He says, he or she, off the top of my head, mine would be Inuyashiki, Big Order, and School Days.
Why Inuyashiki?
Yeah, that was a pretty good show.
That's like so far from like the you would never want to watch anime again, it's so bad category.
Yeah.
Like for me, I said One Piece, since they'd be so burned out by the end of it that they would quit anime forever.
Yeah.
Because it's like, 1 billion episodes long. Then I wrote maybe Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei because it's so damn hyper. Like every character in that show has like the most intense ADHD you've ever seen, and they talk 1,000 miles an hour. And then Pupa because that show is horrific. But mostly Pupa. If I had one answer, it'd be that because that show was wow. Like you would be frightened to watch another an anime series after that because you would just assume that all anime was like that. You'd be like, I cannot handle, my mental psyche cannot handle one more episode of a series like Pupa, and so I will give up forever.
If I had to pick 3, I would say Mysteria Friends.
Oh my god,
the quintessential quintuplets.
Oh boy.
And just so
they were that bad.
No, not really. Well, let's look at my anime list and see what the lowest rated animes I have on here are.
We know it's Captain Earth.
Captain Earth is the second lowest rated show.
Oh, yeah.
The lowest rated show is Super Lovers.
Yeah, not good.
And
well, I mean, someone probably likes it.
A show or a movie, I should say, that I ranked just as low as Captain Earth is Dragon Ball Z Movie 4, Lord Slug.
Lord Slug. I guess those are your picks.
Ooh.
All right, next mailbag is from Friend, who writes, I was so excited to hear Mandy mention the manga 20th Century Boys in a recent episode. She mentioned it when talking about manga that had not had an adaptation, and I wanted to ask if she knew that it had a live-action, high-budget trilogy of movies. The manga is better, of course, but the movies are very good. Well, she says, actually, that she did know this, actually, and thank you for letting her know. She wrote it on the document.
That she did not know this.
Oh, well, she knows now, though.
Right.
Okay.
All right, last up, we have a mailbag from Simmer Down. Or Simmerer Down. There's an extra ER in there. It says here, hi, hosts. I'm having back surgery soon. Oof.
Well.
And will be stuck in my house for at least 6 weeks. I will have a lot of time on my hands.
Yeah.
So I was wondering what everyone's favorite feel-good anime are.
I wrote Initial D.
Dude, same.
I love it. I love Initial D 100%. So much.
That is definitely one of my feel. That's what I was thinking of. Initial D, Great Teacher Onizuka, Beck.
I like Golden Boy. It's very funny.
Yeah,
Golden Boy. Short but funny.
I'm not a huge fan of Golden Boy, but it's pretty good. Haikyuu. I love if I was like hung up for 6 weeks, I would just watch all of Haikyuu again. In fact, I might just do that because I love that show. Hajime no Ippo, although that might get depressing because you can't get out there and train because you're going to be so amped up.
Haikyuu too.
That's true. Yeah, you'll be too amped up and you're like, God damn it, I can't get out of my bed.
Well, it'll give you something to look forward to give you the motivation to do your rehab.
Or you know what? Major.
No, I want him to stick with Hajime no Ippo. It'll give him the passion to do his rehab afterwards.
That's true. But Major would be good, especially a certain part in Major.
That's true. We shouldn't give a spoiler though.
Yeah.
You're not wrong though.
Yeah. All right.
Early on in Major.
Yeah, very
You don't have to go very far.
No. First season, I think.
All right. Okay. That's it.
All right.
It ended up being a lot longer than I thought with just 2 of us.
I mean, we're verbose.
I guess we like to talk a lot.
We've been doing this for a good while.
Yeah, we are.
I'll never forget my first episode of the podcast.
This is in my old condo.
I was so nervous.
Really?
I was like shaken. It was so weird because I kept thinking in my head, I'm like, thousands of people are going to listen to this, and you're going to sound like an idiot. And now I'm like,
we all sound like
idiots.
Well. We all sound like idiots.
Right. But I legitimately remember being like shaking because I was so nervous. And now I could just, I feel like I could just hang out on this podcast all day and shoot the shit. But we don't have time for that.
Yeah, we don't.
We're going to get the hell out of here.
Do some after party action.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to yet another exciting episode. Of course, you can always find us online, AAAPodcast.com/join to create an account, sign up for all of the extra episodes. We truly appreciate all of you that have contributed to us. It means a lot.
And we use pretty much everything.
Yeah, it all goes right back into the podcast. And yeah, it means a lot that you would be willing to part with your hard-earned money for a couple of idiots.
That's true.
Sitting here talking about things that they have no business.
I like that. I like that you did not include Mandy and Enzo in the couple of idiots because we clearly are the idiots.
No, we married up when we got them.
Yeah, that's true.
So of course, head to the website. Head to Facebook, facebook.com/groups/AAAPodcast. Discord server link is on the website. Follow the Pope.
At Pope Mitsugi.
At Pope Mitsugi on Twitter, and your boy at AAA Kazuo on Twitter. You might be my 750th follower.
You might be my 12th.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We appreciate you, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.